LCA Football Fridays is here once again. After a big-time win over the Heritage Pioneers, the Bulldogs are flying high alone atop Class 3 and the Seminole District with an unblemished 7-0 record.
Borchers takes the snap, hands off to Davidson. Davidson at the 35, 30, 25, makes a man miss, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown LCA, Gideon Davidson. 32-yard touchdown.
Tonight, the Bulldogs hit the road once again as they get set to take on the Liberty Bedford Minutemen in their final home game led by first-year head coach Daryl Robertson. However, the star-studded Bulldogs look to spoil the Minutemen home finale.
Borchers play action fake, steps up, rainbows it near sideline for the end zone, back corner, Jaden Skates is there, leaping grab, touchdown LCA. Jaden skates from 21 yards out, a dime from Joe Borchers.
Now we send it to Liberty High School in Bedford for the call of tonight's contest. Here is your play-by-play man, Scout Hughes.
Hello and welcome to this Friday edition of LCA Bulldog Football on 90.9 The Light. I'm Scout Hughes alongside my partner Riley Clingman, and tonight we have a Seminole District matchup between the Liberty Christian Academy Bulldogs and the Liberty Bedford High School Minutemen. As we find ourselves, it's a chilly night here at Minutemen Stadium in Bedford. The Bulldogs come atop the Seminole District with an undefeated record of 7-0, while Liberty Bedford comes in with not having won a game this season. Folks, tonight could be another mile marker for LCA head coach Frank Rocco as he shoots towards career win number 250 with a win tonight.
Well, I think this is a great time to kind of go over Frank Rocco's career at LCA. You know, this is his second tenure. This is his 5th year in the second tenure and his 17th year overall as a head coach of the LCA Bulldogs. His record so far in his second tenure here is 37-14 overall and 20-8 in the Seminole District. He's 151-26, and that's his record as a head coach of LCA, and he's got 249 wins overall as a head coach in both tenures. And so, you know, he's got 6 VISFA state titles from 2004, 2005, 2007, 2011, 2012, and 2013. So, as you said, Scout, another mile marker tonight for Coach Frank Rocco, but he's got to get through the Liberty Bedford High School Minutemen for that to be possible. So a massive night for LCA tonight. We're hoping they'll come through.
Absolutely, and LCA was close getting another state title last year, losing to Phoebus at the conclusion of the season last year. But who is the Liberty Christian Bulldogs playing tonight? They're playing Liberty Bedford, coached by first-year head coach Daryl Robertson with a record of 0-7 as the head coach of Bedford. Give a little insight about him real quick. He won the VHSL title as a player with Liberty Bedford back in 2002. Multiple played at Virginia Tech, played at Liberty as well. Takes over Chris Watts, who was the former head coach at Liberty Bedford for 20 years, and he finished leading the Minutemen to 13 playoff appearances. And we hope that Coach Robertson has some success there as well. It is senior night here at Liberty at the Minutemen Stadium, so we'll throw it to Coach Rocco for an interview. You're listening to Bulldog Football on 90.9 The Light.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
We're almost ready for kickoff, but first let's head down to Coach Rocco and get his thoughts on tonight's matchup.
So, y'all played here last Thursday. What did y'all end up doing on that Friday?
We did what we do on Saturday. Okay, so we moved it up one day, and what that entails is a light workout, because a lot of times you want to get the guys to move around a little bit, and kid has a pulled muscle that he didn't know the night before. You get a chance to address that in advance, so every day matters in rehab. And then we'll watch the game tape from the night before and break that down with the guys. So that's what we did on Friday, and then we took the weekend off.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me what you do know about Coach Robinson being his first year at Liberty Bedford.
Yeah, I know him fairly well. He played at Liberty University, actually for my brother who was coaching there at the time, and then my son played on that team with him. So I followed their team very closely back then. He was a defensive lineman. And then, ever since he got into coaching, he's coached at Glass, and we've coached against him. And then actually, I want to say he was at William Fleming, and we coached against him there. Now he's on his own. So I'm watching him on video, it seems like he's taken a combination of what he's learned at Glass and at William Fleming and making it his own, and that's kind of like what he's doing right now. But I think he'll be successful. That's his alma mater, and so there's some motivation there to really work hard and get that going again.
Yeah. You talk about you've watched them on film. Is there anything particular that stands out to them? Or?
I mean, I think the fact that they play hard the whole game. They're 0-7, and that's got to be hard to keep the kids motivated. But they keep playing hard. So I mean, that's the coach kind of motivating them and keeping them focused and not letting them feel sorry for themselves, and so I'm impressed, and I think they have some young kids too that both with inexperience that has factored into their results this year, but I think that once that inexperience becomes experienced a year down the road or two, I mean, I think they'll be a good team as time comes around.
Right. So you guys were in a tough matchup against Heritage last week. You eventually pulled out. What's the mindset going up against Bedford coming off of a week like that?
Yeah, I mean, as I already expressed to you, the fact that we've got some sickness and bumps and bruises. I mean, I hate to use this term because I challenge our kids all the time not to be in survival mode, but we're kind of in survival mode right now, just finding a way to win in advance, and right now that's what it really is. I mean, in many ways, for teams that are in the playoffs, which we have clinched now, it's like every game's a playoff game. You win, and then it enhances your standing in the playoffs. Hosting the first round, then you win another game, then you'll guarantee hosting 2 rounds if you win, and so each game is meaningful, for the future of our postseason hopes.
Yes, sir.
Now, looking at the new offense and defense that Coach Robertson is trying to install, Coach Chris Watts ran that Maryland I for 20 years, and Coach Robertson's running more of a spread offense now, getting a lot of different guys in the game, trying to figure stuff out.
Right.
And his defense, when I looked at it on film, it was really confusing. He runs 4 down linemen, 2 outside linebackers, a middle linebacker, and brings down the strong safety. He's only got 2 corners and a free safety for coverage. How can you, as a coach, exploit that tonight and really get your receivers a ball and kind of get it out of Gideon's hands for a game?
Well, it's you should be on our coaching staff because those are things we're trying to do tonight. They are doing what you explained will certainly load up the box, so they're going to want to try to put a lot of bodies around the ball and stop our running game, and so we're going to have to be able to effectively pass the ball. Jaden Skates is going to be out tonight, and then maybe 1 or 2 other receivers. So we're going to be down there and kind of relying on some youthful, inexperienced receivers ourselves. But the passing game is something that we want to be able to go to tonight to alleviate the fact that they're going to be trying to load the box. So we'll see. I mean, tonight again is going to be one of those nights where you kind of observe and dissect and figure out, okay, what are they doing? Well, then we got to be able to counter with something else, and figuring out what our guys can do tonight too will be an additional component as we try to figure out the best strategy. So it's going to be interesting, but you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we're going to have to throw the ball a little bit.
And then kind of, going on the other side of that, playing defense, Liberty Bedford has a freshman back there, Mason Davis, number 7. Pretty good kid, pretty good athlete. Yeah. He's got number 2, Kentrell Evans, a senior, who gets the bulk of the carries for them on offense. They get the ball out to number 5 and number 6, Raekwon Blake and Damien Williams. How do you stop their weapons, and is it a thing of putting pressure on Mason Davidson with your really good defensive linemen and outside linebackers and getting to the quarterback?
Yeah, they do have a lot of weapons, and that's the thing that is a little, certainly scary. We talked to our kids all week, and we said those very numbers that you alluded to. And the one thing that they do, that they will move their guys around from position to position. So it's not like, number 6 plays just wide receiver. He may play quarterback. I mean, he may play running back. So, when you kind of game plan for teams, sometimes there's some tendencies there where, okay, when this guy is at this position, this is what you got to watch for. But they move around so many different guys that you really can't, key in on that. So we're going to go with really pretty much of a very simple game plan, with the fact that we're down some guys and then playing with some inexperienced guys, and then the fact that they do have these athletes that move around from position to position is going to cause us to be very vanilla, really, and hopefully just play sound defense, run to the ball, and hopefully that will suffice for us. But they do a lot of skill.
Kickoff is up next. You're listening to LCA Football Fridays on 90.9 The Light.
Sarah's worried about her husband. Jack has been coming home later than usual, blaming long hours at the office. But Jack doesn't work in an office. He works in a local cinnamon bun shop. Sarah's also finding hair that isn't hers. One day, Jack leaves the house in a hurry, using the cinnamon shortage crisis in Sri Lanka as an excuse. So, Sarah follows his car to a building right off Route 29. There, sure enough, she finds her husband in a position most compromising, the downward dog with a tabby cat curled up on his back. Now, cat yoga at the Lynchburg Humane Society is something they do together. And for $10 a session, you too could perfect your chaturanga surrounded by friendly felines. Call now to find out when the next session is at 434-448-0088 or lynchburghumane.org. It won't solve the Sri Lankan cinnamon crisis, but it might help you find your zen. Just don't hide it from your wife.
You're listening to LCA Football Fridays on 90.9 The Light. Now back to the broadcast booth for kickoff.
And welcome back to Minutemen Stadium, where kickoff is shortly underway. The captains are out on the field. And the captains are on the field. We've had our starting lineups. A lot of people are in pink tonight for Breast Care Awareness Month. It is October after all. Captains go to the sideline. Your captains for tonight for the LCA, Camden Clinton, Caleb Davidson, and Carson Meadows. And for the Minutemen of Liberty Bedford, you have Damien Williams, Isaac Hamilton, and Aaron Robertson for the Minutemen. It should be a good game tonight. We're going to talk about a little bit about the Bedford coach, who is in his first year as head coach of Liberty Bedford. His alma mater is a tremendous honor to coach your alma mater, and it should be a good game tonight with Liberty Bedford having their senior night. We're getting ready for kickoff as the Minutemen are lined up waiting on the LCA Bulldogs to come out of the huddle and prepare for their kickoff. As they come out onto the field now, Liberty Bedford will be kicking off to the Bulldogs. And receiving the ball in the back is number 4, Camden Clinton. And another Jeb Moon is in the back. Check that, Gideon Davidson. And we are ready for kickoff at Minutemen Field in Bedford. Ref has whistled off. We're ready to go in Bedford. And we are underway. And that ball would be kicked out of bounds. That would be a penalty in the Bulldogs' favor. 1st and 10 as the Bulldogs will set up shop.
Well, it's not what you want to see if you're the Minutemen and Coach Robertson. You know, the kickoff goes out of bounds, and LCA, a very, very powerful offense full of weapons. You're going to give them prime field position to start their first drive of this game, and that's not what you want to see if you're Coach Daryl Robertson of the Liberty Bedford Minutemen.
Not what you want to see at all, and now the Bulldogs have broken the huddle, and they will have their first crack at it to score. It'll be 1st and 10 with the penalty to that kick, for the kick out of bounds. It will set up shop on the Bulldogs' 40-yard line. 1st and 10. And Borchers is under center awaiting the snap. Motion to the right. Snap. Handoff to Davidson. Davidson running to the right side. Running some more. And he is knocked out of bounds by number 6. By number 6, Raekwon Blake on the tackle right there.
And that's exactly what you want if you're LCA. You know, the Liberty Bedford High School team is going to stack the box. You know, they run that 4-2-5 defensive front, so they're going to stack the box and try to take away Gideon Davidson. But right there, an easy first down, gain of about 15 yards, and LCA is now at the Liberty Bedford 45-yard line.
And that's what you want to see on a first down. Another first down, 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. In the shotgun, the pitch to number 4, Cam Clinton, and he's running down the left sideline, and he will be tackled. And that clock will still be running at about the 26-yard line with Noah Crumpacker on the tackle right there.
Well, so far it's just 2 plays and 2 first downs for the LCA Bulldogs, and they're just moving the football right down the field against the Liberty Minutemen on 2 plays.
And when we were talking earlier, we had a hard time figuring out what defense Bedford was trying to run, as Borchers is under center with a motion to the left. Awaiting the snap is Borchers. Borchers with the handoff. He's going to pass the ball, and he throws the ball to number 21. Number 21, Josh Pillay. And he will be down near the 10-yard line. Bulldogs now in the red zone. Brought down by Bryce Sneed. And that'll bring up another first down for the Bulldogs. And that seems to be their bread and butter, running the ball.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they've done 1 run play and 2 pass plays, just 2 little screen plays, but they're getting chunk yardage, and that's what Coach Rocco wants to see on the first 3 plays of the ball game.
Another first down for the Bulldogs. 1st and 10. Borchers under center. Motion to the left. And we will have a penalty on the play. Going to wait to see what the officials say. Illegal procedure on the Bulldogs. That'll be a 5-yard penalty, and they will replay the first down. It seems like that in this game, we say it every time, you cannot afford to have penalties in any circumstance, but when you're being so successful as you are running the ball, it seems all right.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're the Liberty Minutemen, you definitely don't want to give up penalties, because they're giving an average of 41.1 points a game, and LCA is an offense that's going to score points.
As there's a touchdown right there, Borchers.
Pass is complete for the score.
Borchers to Clinton for the touchdown.
Yeah, that was just a nice pitch and catch by Joe Borchers. Lots of time in the pocket. Throws a 16-yard dot to Cam Clinton, and we're not even 2 minutes into the ball game, and LCA is already on the scoreboard here early in the first quarter.
Yeah, exactly right. The Bulldogs strike first blood in this matchup, and as we will wait to see the extra point after.
Ryan Pettit is going to be the one lining up for the extra point. He's been so good all year on extra points. He converted all of them against Heritage last week.
Awaiting the snap. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is up, and that is good. And now LCA is up 7-0 early on in this game with 10:21 left to go in the first quarter. Good drive so far for the Bulldogs. They did everything that they could, ran the ball most of the time, threw the ball when they needed to, and it got them 7 points.
Yeah, it was a very methodical drive, only about 5 plays, with the false start penalty that pinned them back on the Liberty Bedford 16. But Joe Borchers said, that doesn't matter to me, and throws a 16-yard strike to Cam Clinton over the middle for a touchdown. He was pretty much wide open and untouched, and LCA breaks the scoreboard early here.
And that's what you got to do when you're one of the leaders on this team. Some of the other leaders, you have Borchers, Davidson, who, to my knowledge, took a visit to Knoxville this past weekend. Saw the amazing finish in Knoxville between Tennessee and Alabama. I watched that game. It was a really good game to watch, and I'm sure he had a good time while he was there as well.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Liberty Bedford and Coach Daryl Robertson respond. In his interview with us on Thursday, he was talking about the grit and the no-quit for this team, and so we'll see how the Liberty Bedford Minutemen are going to respond here on their first offensive drive. We'll see if they can go down to the other end of the field from right to left on your radio dial and punch one in and tie this game against LCA, the powerhouse of the Seminole District right now.
Exactly. The Bulldogs ready to kick off on the Minutemen's own 45, and due to the penalty, and that will be a touchback as Liberty Bedford will set up shop on their own 20-yard line to start off.
Number 7, Mason Davison, the freshman quarterback for Liberty Bedford, is going to trot out onto the field. He's actually been hurt and banged up quite a bit, so he hasn't been able to play in every single game. It is week 8 of the season, Scout. Both teams are a little banged up. Coach Rocco told us this morning that there's going to be some players not playing tonight for him, and yep. I'm sure Liberty Bedford is dealing with the same things, and so is the rest of the region and the district.
Just like you said, a lot of injuries on both sides of the ball, and props to the freshmen for going out there and playing hard as Davison is in shotgun formation in the snap. Only 3 down linemen as Davison snaps the ball to number 5, Williams, and he will be rocked by number 9, and that will be Jeb Moon on the tackle right there.
Well, it was a great job by Jeb Moon. He wrapped him up right around the ankles and brought him down for no gain. It's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Liberty Bedford Minutemen, and it looks like they're running some sort of Emery and Henry, which is what I used to run back in my days at my high school. You have trips right and trips left, and, it looks like they're going to go back to the normal spread formation here for the 2nd down play.
Davison back to snap in the shotgun, awaiting the snap, hands the ball off, and number 6, or number 2, Kentrell Evans with a great run down there. And that'll be a big gain for the Minutemen. It'll be 1st and 10 on their own LCA's 45-yard line with 9 minutes and 32 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Well, there was just a big hole there created by the offensive line, and Gideon Davidson had to run all the way over from the free safety position and just knock him out of bounds. It was really the last hope there for the LCA defense, and he pushed him out just enough, but a very big run and a very positive thing to see for Coach Daryl Robertson against this LCA defense thus far.
The snap again, and quite frankly, that run will be stopped at around the 43-yard line with Weston Woodard on the tackle right there, about 9:17 and counting left to go in the first quarter, and that'll bring up 2nd down.
Yeah, and that was just a 2-yard gain there. Not a whole lot there after the big run, the previous play by Kentrell Evans, but that's what Coach Robertson wants to do. He wants to get the ball in the hands of his playmakers, and Kentrell Evans has been a playmaker all year long. He's done a phenomenal job as the senior running back for this team thus far into the season.
Davison again in the shotgun formation, awaiting the snap. LCA showing signs of blitz, and the ball will be handed off again. And he will be brought down by number 44, Carson Meadows. And that will bring up 3rd down for the Minutemen. About 8 to go on the play with the clock still ticking with about 8:30 left to go.
Well, we knew this LCA defense was going to be good, and they showed up against Heritage. They had a few turnovers, a really big turnover late in the game off of Hav Bateman. And they're just continuing to show us why they are one of the best, if not the best defense in the Seminole District, only allowing just over 6 points a game thus far into the 8th game here tonight.
And they're in a different formation with a different quarterback, but he's handing off the ball to number 5, Demeen Williams, and he will be brought down to about the 40-yard line, and that'll bring a 4th down for the Minutemen, brought down by number 44, Carson Meadows, on the tackle. Bringing up 4th down and 5 for the Minutemen with a little under 8 minutes left to go.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see the decision here from Daryl Robertson. Will he be aggressive on the first drive of the game for his team to try and pick up this 1st down to keep the drive alive, or will he send the punt team out?
Different quarterback in, Raekwon Blake in the different formation for the Minutemen. Snap, and they're going to do a QB draw by himself, and he will be brought down by number 4, Cam Clinton, and that'll be a turnover on downs by the Minutemen, and the Bulldogs will gain possession once again.
I think brought down is an understatement there, Scout. I mean, he was absolutely stuffed. There was nowhere for him to go, and LCA is going to get another. They're going to start another drive with really good field position here. Still pretty early in the first quarter, not even 5 minutes of the way through this first quarter. So we'll see if LCA can put another touchdown up on the board here in their second drive.
And they absolutely earned that turnover on downs. And the Minutemen, after a few good runs to start off, they have an easy 4 and out. And now we'll see the Bulldogs take over 1st and 10 on their own 43-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. Borcher is under center. Borcher's awaiting the snap. And the ball is snapped and handed off to Davidson. Davidson running, and he will be brought down at the 52-yard line by number 10, Trey Fox. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 4 on the Liberty Bedford 49-yard line with about 7 minutes left to go in the first quarter.
Well, thus far, LCA has just really done a great job getting the ball in the hands of their playmakers. You know, Gideon Davidson is always going to have a lot of carries. You know, he is the number 1 running back in Virginia, and so they're going to try and get him the ball any way they can.
Right, snap, ball. Borchers fires to number 44, Carson Meadows, and that's a big pass, big catch, and he is brought down at approximately the 25-yard line, and that'll be a big gain for the Bulldogs to set up shop again with 1st and 10. And they caught him off guard right there, Riley.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, literally, that's just what they do. That's what they've been able to do all season long. You know, Carson Meadows has always been able to get open as a tight end, and they've always been able to find him down the middle of the field. And that's been one of the plays for Coach Rocco. That's been his bread and butter.
Right, 1st and 10. Borchers under center for the Bulldogs, awaiting the snap. The ball is snapped. Davidson has the ball. Davidson running, and he is stopped with about 1 yard gain. That'll bring up 2nd down with about 6:35 left to go in the first quarter, bringing up 2nd down.
Yeah, and he was stopped by a host of Minutemen there. That was very good pursuit by the defensive front and the linebackers getting in there. The outside linebackers shed their blocks and got to Gideon Davidson and held him to a minimal gain of 1 yard.
2nd down and 9 for the Bulldogs. Borcher's now in the shotgun formation, and he is awaiting the snap. You have 3 wide receivers to the right side. Borcher's awaiting the snap, gets the snap, throws the ball to Gideon Davidson. Davidson running to the right sideline, and he will be brought down by a host of Minutemen, led by number 9, Bryce Sneed. And that'll bring up about 3rd down, and we'll see where they mark it. About the same 9 to go in order to get the 1st down with under 6 minutes left to go in the first quarter.
Bryce Sneed came all the way over from the middle linebacker spot to make that play. That's just great vision and a great spy read there to hold Gideon Davidson to a gain of 2 yards to bring up a 3rd down and long for this LCA team who's been pretty effective on 3rd down all season long. So we'll see if the Minutemen can get a stop and get off the field here.
We'll see what the Bulldogs do. We'll see what Coach Rocco has up his sleeve in order to get the 1st down. As the Bulldogs are still in the huddle, they break that huddle, going up to the line with Jeb Moon now in the game for the Bulldogs. He awaits the snap, and he's going to run it himself. And he will get a lot of yardage on this play as he runs, keeps running, and he's still on his feet, knocked down by 2 Minutemen at about the 3-yard line, make it 2-yard line, and that'll bring up 1st and goal for the Bulldogs, and he was taken down by number 88, Aaron Robertson.
Well, that's just what Frank Rocco had up his sleeve. I mean, that's what happens when you have one quarterback that's willing to run the football and one that really likes to throw it. And Jeb Moon's an athlete. Yes, he's a small guy, but when you give him space, he just showed us why he can make you pay.
Borcher's back in the game at quarterback, and he awaits the snap. He hands off to Gideon Davidson, and Gideon is waiting for his blockers, and he will get a touchdown. LCA, the Bulldogs strike again, and that'll be 13-0 with the point after waiting. 44-34 left to go in the first quarter.
Well, so far it seems like LCA really hasn't had to open up the playbook too much against his Liberty Minutemen, just sticking to the fundamental plays thus far into this game, and it seems to be working against the Liberty Minutemen. A few big plays, you know, a big third down that they converted with Jeb Moon back there at quarterback, just a bunch of different ways that they've been able to get, you know, the ball in the hands of playmakers, and so we'll see if they can make this game 14-0 after the extra point.
Awaiting the extra point snap, the Bulldogs are. Good snap, good hold. The kick is up, and that kick is good to make it 14-0 with 4:34 left in the first quarter. And LCA seems to be doing its job, quite frankly, against the Minutemen.
Yeah, they are, and I mean, I think any football team would take 2 drives and 2 scores any day of the week, no matter how good or how bad you are. And so, I mean, this is really going to be a testament here to Coach Daryl Robertson. You know, yes, the scores aren't what you want to see as a first-year head coach, but he hasn't gotten shut out yet this year, and I think that's a testament to the kids and the grit. And honestly, I'm just surprised that he's been able to keep the locker room for 8 games now, you know, for his players to have that no quit and that grit to get points up on the board. So we'll see if the Minutemen can continue that trend tonight.
Grit and grace is the theme for the Minutemen this season. And we talked about how early on in the year the Minutemen had over 40 kids come out for their tryouts for football, and so that just shows how large of a roster that they have with the few that the community offers. As LCA will kick off from their own 40-yard line, and LCA will kick off to the Minutemen once again, waiting the official's whistle. And here we go. Kickoff once again. That ball is taken by number 6, Raekwon Blake, and Blake is going down the sideline. He keeps running. He's breaking tackles, and he is brought down out of bounds by number 15 for LCA, Ryan Pettit. And that'll bring up first down and 10 for the Minutemen on their own 35-yard line. Good field position to start off for the Minutemen.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about sparking something for this Liberty Minutemen team. You know, to go down 14-0 7 minutes into the game is not what you want to see. And so maybe this can be a spark for the Minutemen to get something going on offense and get into LCA territory and maybe go down to only make this a 1-possession football game here in the first quarter.
Absolutely. Minutemen 1st and 10. As that's a low snap. Davison hands off, and that'll be met by a pack of Bulldogs, and that was tackled by number 4, Cam Clinton. We're going to call his name a lot tonight, it seems, as he gets another tackle.
Yeah, and so far that defensive line and the defensive front has not really allowed a whole lot of running room other than that big run by Kentrell Evans early on in the football game. But since that big run, LCA has tightened it up on defense, and they haven't allowed much of anything on the ground game.
Bedford breaks the huddle. Bring up 2nd and 9 on their own 36-yard line. And here's Davison back in the gun, awaiting the snap, gets the snap, looks left, and that'll be a little gain right there, caught by number 2, Kentrell Evans, but there is a penalty on the play, and that'll be holding against Liberty Bedford. That'll take him back 10 yards for a replay of 2nd down.
So it's going to now be 2nd and 18, and you know, this Minutemen team, the one thing you don't want to have happen to you is for you to get behind the chains. That's been a big thing this season for them. And I mean, you know, yes, Liberty Bedford has weapons, but this LCA defense has been stout this season. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. It's going to be a big talking point tonight. LCA's defense has only allowed a little bit over 6 points per game this season on defense. And so we'll see if the Liberty Bedford Minutemen can respond.
We'll bring up 3rd and 13, on their own 32. Handoff for Bedford. And that'll be Kentrell Evans again on the run. And it'll be brought down at about the 40-yard line with Jeb Moon on the tackle.
Fourth down and 5.
It's going to be 4th and 5 now in Liberty Bedford's own territory, so you would have to think that they're going to actually punt this one away and give LCA the football back, as we see Jeb Moon trotting back to be the punt returner for the LCA Bulldogs.
And the punter for the Bedford Minutemen is Julian Lopez Behrens, and he will be awaiting the snap. The Bulldogs show some blitz right there, and that will be a punt that will only go about the, and I believe a Liberty Christian Bulldog touched the ball before a Liberty Minutemen could get on it. And with a punt that only went about 5 yards, turned into another set of downs for the Minutemen.
That punt actually did not even go 5 yards. It literally hit the line of scrimmage and bounced backwards 1 yard. And Coach Daryl Robertson said that both of these players, or both of the kickers on the team, are soccer players, and that was a punt by number 81, Julian Lopez Behrens. And to me, it looked like Liberty Bedford jumped right back on top of that punt because one of the LCA Bulldogs touched it, and there was a scuffle and a pile to get the football. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to get the football here and who's going to start and who's going to have the ball for their next drive.
And it's interesting because we see the officials huddled right here. The ball did not go past the first down marker, but it was touched by an LCA player and recovered by the Liberty Bedford special teams unit. And the officials have decided that it will be 1st and 10 for Liberty Bedford on their own. And we have another whistle from the official on their own 38-yard line. And I wonder what they're discussing down there. And, well, they break their huddle, and we'll do ours. First and 10 for the Minutemen. The snap, the pitch off to number 6, Raekwon Blake. And he is brought down by a host of Bulldogs, with Gideon Davidson leading the charge right there to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Minutemen with about 2:50 left to go and counting in this first quarter.
Well, Scout, it seems like 75% of the plays have gone absolutely nowhere for this Liberty Bedford Minutemen team. I mean, LCA is just dominating up front, and their corners are doing a great job, and safeties are doing a great job of getting pursuit to the ball carrier and bringing him down right when they make the tackle. Great tackles right below the waist and tackling them at the ankles to bring them down and not let them get any extra yardage whatsoever.
Davison in the shotgun awaiting the snap from the Liberty Bedford offense. And he will get the snap, and he's going way, way back, and he's going to go out of the pocket, throws the ball, and that ball will be incomplete. His intended target was number 4, Benjamin Elder. Check that, Noah Crumpacker, number 14.
Well, that was just great coverage there by the LCA defense. Gideon Davidson was covering a go route. Jeb Moon was covering a crossing route. And, you know, there was just nowhere really for Mason Davison to throw the football, so it was forced. Therefore, he threw it off his back foot, just a little too high for Noah Crumpacker to get, who is one of the really, really good playmakers for this Liberty Minutemen team. He actually played quarterback at one point when he was a 3rd string in a game against Amherst.
It'll bring up 3rd and 11 for the Minutemen on their own 37. As Davison gets the snap, he'll roll right, and he will look, and he will throw, and that ball is broken up by number 21, Josh Pillay. And that'll bring up 4th down and 11 again with 2:05 left to go in the first quarter. And Riley, I wonder what we're going to see from this special teams unit from Bedford once again.
Well, I just think if you're Coach Robertson or Coach Rocco, you hope to see a little bit further of a punt on this attempt here. I mean, that punt literally went absolutely nowhere on the last punt by number 81, Julian Lopez Behrens. So we'll see if he can get some air under it, get his leg behind it, and pin LCA deep.
And it is getting colder here at the Minutemen Stadium. And the officials will call it'll be a timeout for Liberty Bedford. And since they're taking a timeout, we will too. You're listening to LCA Bulldog Football on 90.9 The Light.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
This is LCA Football linebacker Caleb Davidson, and you are listening to LCA Football on 90.9 The Light.
As Liberty Bedford took a timeout, they're ready to go on 4th down and 11 on their own 37-yard line. 2:05 left to go in the first quarter as Julian Lopez Behrens will await the snap, hopefully get a better result this time around. LCA showing blitz on the punt, and the snap to the punter, and that was a way better punt. And we will wait to see where that ball lands, and that ball will be just about landed at the LCA 20-21-yard line, where the Bulldogs will set up shop 1st and 10 with 1:53 left to go in the first.
That was a lot better punt, and I mean, Julian Lopez Behrens got a Liberty Bedford Minutemen roll there, and it rolled. It hit about the 32-yard line and took a nice Minutemen roll all the way to the 20-yard line. And LCA is going to actually not necessarily be pinned deep, but they're going to start a drive, where they really haven't started one thus far. They've started it either at their own 45 or in Liberty Bedford territory to begin. So it's going to be a long drive for LCA here on their 3rd drive of this quarter and of this game.
It is getting colder out here. You got to consider the elements in high school football. And as LCA sets up shop 1st and 10, Borchers awaiting the snap. And it'll be handed off to Davidson. Davidson will run, and he will be tackled by 2 Minutemen, led by number 2, Kentrell Evans on the play. As that'll bring up a new set of downs for the Bulldogs. 1st and 10 on their own 31-yard line with 1:37 left to go in the first. As they will set up shop right here. 1st and 10, 3 in the backfield, 2 wideouts to the right, 1 to the left. Borchers awaiting the snap. Davidson in motion. Borchers throws the ball to Davidson, and he has a lot of running room, and he will take advantage of it, and he will be tackled out of bounds at about the 45-yard line, the Bulldog 45-yard line, by number 14, Noah Crumpacker. And LCA might as well keep getting those first downs, as it'll be another first down on their own 42-yard line. Bulldogs, Borchers awaiting the snap, gets the snap, hands off to Davidson, and he'll run the ball, and he will be brought down by the pant leg of number 9, Bryce Sneed, and that'll bring up 2nd down for the Bulldogs at about their 44-yard line with less than a minute left to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, and every single time the LCA Bulldogs have ran the ball straight up the gut, it seems that the Liberty Bedford Minutemen have sniffed it right out, and they have stopped the LCA running backs for a minimal gain, but when they run it to the outside, that seems to be where LCA has created space and have gotten those big gains from the run game.
Borchers with the snap, and he will hand off to number 10, Caleb Davidson, and he will run to the left side, and he will be brought down at about the 44-yard line, the Bedford 44-yard line. Caleb Davidson a little slow to get up on that play, and he will go to the sideline to be checked out. As
there is a flag on the play.
There is a flag on the play, and we will wait to see what that penalty is. It seems like the Bulldogs are going to back up with 31.6 seconds left to go in the first quarter. We'll see what the official says. It'll be holding on the Bulldog offense, and that'll bring him back 10 yards. Bring up 2nd and 19. And the clock will keep running. Less than 30 seconds left to go in the first quarter. This will most likely be the last play of the first quarter unless they can get another one off, but that's unlikely. Borchers under center with Davidson in the backfield. Davidson gets the ball, handed off to the left side, and he will go down with the clock when the clock will keep running. And he will be stopped at about the 38-yard line, and that will bring us to the end of the first quarter with the score LCA 14, Liberty Bedford 0, and LCA will continue with the ball with their drive in the second quarter.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This is LCA Football Right Tackle Easton Ware. You're listening to LCA Football on 90.9 The Light.
And we are about to start the second quarter. Your score is 14-0 in favor of the Bulldogs of Liberty Christian Academy. And Riley, we have a little bit of insight on Liberty Bedford's head coach, Daryl Robertson, in his first year as the head coach of the Minutemen.
Yeah, Daryl Robertson is a former Virginia Tech and Liberty University college football player.
Yeah.
He got a full ride from VT. He stayed there for 2 years, played defensive line, and then he transferred over to Liberty University, where me and you obviously go to college, the great Liberty University. Now, Liberty Mountain, we're about 30 minutes away from there right now.
Yes, sir.
And Coach Daryl Robertson was a part of the 2002 state championship team for this Liberty Bedford Minutemen program, and he's really just trying to revamp the team. You know, Coach Chris Watts resigned. You know, for 20 years he ran that Maryland Eye offense, and so we'll see what Daryl Robertson can do with this team. He's only in his first year coaching, so, you know, this Liberty Bedford Minutemen team needs to give him a few years, but I think he can bring the program back because what he's preaching to the team, they're starting to really soak it in.
And we have a penalty on the first play. That'll be a false start on the Bulldogs. That'll back him up 5 yards. But you're right, Riley. He has a lot of coaching experience, was an assistant at EC Glass, was an assistant with William Fleming over near Roanoke, and now he's coaching for his alma mater here at Liberty Bedford High School, as we are waiting to see where the officials spot it, as the Bulldogs will set up shop. 3rd down and 19, as Borchers rolls to the right. Receiver slips, and Borchers will throw a long ball intended for number 3, and that would be broken up, incomplete by number 5. Number 5, Damian Williams. And Borchers was going for the long ball on that play, and that'll bring up 4th down for the Bulldogs, and it looks like they're going to punt for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and that's just a great job by the Minutemen to really blitz Joe Borchers, and I mean, so far we've seen really good coverage by this Minutemen secondary, and you know, it makes LCA have to punt the football away, and that's not what Coach Rocco wants to see on the 3rd drive of the football game here early on in the second quarter.
Good snap, good catch, and good punt by the Liberty Christian Bulldogs, and that will take a Bulldog roll down to the 26-yard line where the Minutemen will set up shop. We got some first quarter stats for you. Camden Clinton, 30 total yards with a receiving touchdown and a tackle and he had that tackle for loss on 4th down to stop Bedford's first drive. Gideon and Caleb Davidson combined for 47 total yards and a rushing touchdown, with Gideon Davidson with that touchdown. And the defense only allowed 25 yards and 33 on the first drive, as Liberty Bedford will set up shop. 1st and 10, 11:39 left to go in the first half. Davison awaiting the snap, pointing at his receivers. Williams going in motion, and the ball will be handed off, but it is stopped by a pack of Bulldogs led by number 51, Logan Burnt, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 9 for the Bulldogs, and that'll be on their own, for the Minutemen on their own 27-yard line. Minutemen still in the huddle, waiting for their leader, Davison, the freshman, to give them the play. The Minutemen break the huddle. 2 wideouts to the left. and two to the right as Davison awaits the snap in shotgun. The ball is snapped, the ball is handed off, and that'll be brought down by a pack of Bulldogs led by Carson Meadows on that play. And that'll bring up third down for the Minutemen on their own 29-yard line.
Well, the Bulldogs defense is staying with that same mentality on these first two plays of the first two plays of this drive in the second quarter for the Minutemen. And as you said before, in the first quarter, LCA only allowed 25 total yards of offense to the Liberty Bedford Minutemen, and they're just showing that mentality and that mindset has not changed going into this second quarter.
It certainly has not. Minutemen waiting for 3rd and 7. Davison throws the ball, and that ball is caught by number 5, Damian Williams. And that ball was, in fact, completed. And that'll bring up 4th down, but it wasn't enough to get the first down. It'll be 4th down and about 3 for Liberty Bedford. And they will bring out the punt team once again with number 81, Julian Lopez Behrens, expected to receive the snap from his long snapper. LCA awaiting to defend the punt. Julian gets the snap, and he will punt it away. And that's a relatively good kick. And that'll take a Minuteman roll. A good 8 yards down to the 32-yard line. And LCA will set up shop at the 34-yard line, rather. Bring up 1st and 10 with about 9:24 left to go in the first half. Your score 14-0 LCA.
It'll be interesting to see what LCA's offense will do after punting the football away for the first time in this game. Their last drive, and they started, pretty pinned deep in their own territory on that drive. Had a big penalty that really kind of took that drive out of proportion. A big holding call that really helped the Liberty Minutemen get off the field. So we'll see if the LCA Bulldogs can create some positive plays and not start behind the sticks in this drive, and we'll see if they can get a nice methodical drive and go 65 yards down the field to punch it in.
Bulldogs break their huddle. Borchers under center, and he will fake the handoff, and he will throw that ball to number 3, intended for number 3, Austin Rose, but that will be incomplete, overshot him, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 10 for the Bulldogs with 9:16 left to go in the first half.
And that's the second deep ball, or deep shot, I should say, that we've seen from Joe Borchers. The first one was targeted towards Dalton Nessel Road. That was broken up by the secondary. But on that play, Austin Rose did a great job of getting behind the secondary of this Minutemen defense, who only play with 1 free safety and 2 corners, to remind everybody, because they stack 8 in the box. And that was just I don't know if that was miscommunication or just Joe Borchers just missed the receiver there on an overthrow.
Borchers will hand the ball off to Davidson. Davidson will be running over to the left side, and he will be brought down at the 39-yard line. And we have a late penalty that is thrown.
Late flag coming in.
And we will wait to see what that penalty is. That penalty was thrown a good 3 seconds after the play was called dead. And we will see what the official has to say with 9:05 left to go in the first half. And that will be a penalty against the Bulldogs. Sportsmanlike conduct.
It was on number 53, Josh Zarillo. He pushed number 66, Jacob Crossing, into the ground after the whistle was blown. There was just a little bit of extracurricular activities going on at the end of that, on the end of that first down play.
And no matter who you play, you don't want any extracurricular activity, whether it's, a little roo-ha-ha or anything like that, especially, the closer you get to playoffs, because if you get a certain number of people ejected, you will be disqualified for the VHSL postseason, as Borchers goes to the huddle for the Bulldogs and to give them their play, and they will break their bunch huddle.
It's going to be 3rd and 20 now for the LCA Bulldogs. So once again, they have another drive on 3rd down where they're behind the sticks.
Borchers under center, and he will hand off the ball to Davidson. Davidson's got a lot of room, and he will keep running down, and he is brought down. Oh, he's still on his feet, breaks the tackle, and he will go all the way 10-5, touchdown LCA. But we have a penalty back at the Liberty, or at the LCA 40-yard line. and we will see what the official has to say, but good run and good juke and good break by Gideon Davidson.
Yeah, for sure.
With 8:49 left to go in the first half, but we will wait to see what the officials say about that penalty.
If the call stands, Scout, it's going to be a 76-yard touchdown run for Gideon Davidson.
And that will be on the Liberty Bedford defense. Personal foul against the Minutemen, and that will be, and that touchdown will stand for the Bulldogs. With now 20-0 LCA, 8:49 left to go in the first half, and at the extra point, we're waiting for it.
Yeah, the offensive line opened up a hole that a dump truck could go through, and Gideon Davidson went right through it, and then there was nobody in front of him, so he had to do all the work, and he's been great all season by about slipping tackles, and there were a bunch of arm tackles trying to take him down, and Gideon Davidson is going to run right through those, and he ended up showing us his true strength and taking that football to the house for 76 yards.
To take down Gideon Davidson, you can't just arm tackle the guy. You got to, body contact him, and, Liberty Bedford certainly did not do that, thinking that they could just take him down with one arm as we await for the extra point for LCA with 8:49 left to go in the first half. Your score, 20-0 LCA. The Bulldogs still awaiting the snap as we're waiting for the official's whistle as he blows it. Bulldogs awaiting the snap for the extra point try. Good snap, good hold, and that kick is up, and it is good. Extra point is good. Your score now, 21-0. 3 scores in favor of the LCA Bulldogs with 8:49 left to go in the first half. Riley, that was a fantastic big run by Gideon Davidson, and I feel like we're going to see more of that as the season progresses.
Yeah, for sure, and I mean, we've already seen that this season. I mean, Gideon Davidson right now, coming into this game, of course, the stats not included for tonight. He has 108 carries for 967 yards. That's an average of 9 yards a carry and 17 touchdowns on the ground.
Now 18.
Yeah, now 18. Actually 19 because he had the 3-yard run earlier. And so, I mean, Gideon Davidson just gets it all done in a plethora of ways for this LCA offense. And, I mean, Gideon Davidson is just once again showing why he's a 4-star recruit and why he's going to go on to play some Division I football big time.
Right, some high-level college football indeed for Mr. Gideon Davidson. And with that run, he is already over 100 total yards on the night.
Scout, I got a little question for you.
What's up?
You think Gideon Davidson is going to get over the yardage mark that he carried last week? He had 220 yards on the ground last week. Do we think he's going to get over that here tonight against the Liberty Bedford Minutemen?
Yes, I full-heartedly believe that. And the official will move up the ball because the penalty on that touchdown run will be assessed on this particular kickoff, and the Bulldogs will kick off on the Bedford 45-yard line.
That's already the second penalty that's been put on a kickoff for LCA thus far in this game. So Ryan Pettit's going to get another chance to kick a touchback, and the Liberty Bedford Minutemen are going to, possibly be starting another drive on their own 20-yard line, and they're going to have to go 80 yards down the field for yet another drive.
Most likely, awaiting the kickoff is the Minutemen of Liberty Bedford, and just like you said, it'll be a touchback for the LCA Bulldogs, and the Minutemen will set up shop. 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. 8:56 left to go in the first half. And you're right, Riley. I mean, Gideon Davidson is just that workhorse that LCA has been relying on all year. Of course, LCA has its group of leaders: Gideon Davidson, his brother Caleb Davidson, and Joe Borchers, and it's just fantastic to see those guys, mesh and gel together. And it shows right now as they're up 3 scores with Liberty Bedford going 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. As there's a run by Mason Davison, and he will take the ball and strictly run out of bounds with a gain of I believe he lost a yard on that play, and he was rushed out of bounds by number 9, Jeb Moon, And what would you have done on that play, Riley? I'm not quite sure why that play was called.
Well, what just happened was the mesh was missed by Mason Davison and Kentrell Evans. I think Mason Davison was thinking that Kentrell was going to take the football and run it up the middle. Mason Davison just had to run out of the pocket for his life, and he was just, he actually didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. He lost a yard on the play, so it'll bring up 2nd and 11.
Lost some yards right there. Davison awaiting the snap, gets the snap in the shotgun, and he is running for his life, and he will just throw the ball away out of bounds, and that'll bring up 3rd down for the Minutemen.
Number 88, Isam Najafor, was the one chasing after him. Mason Davison was just running for his life because he saw big boy number 88 for the LCA Bulldogs, who's 6'4", 270 pounds. And if you look at number 7, Mason Davison, he is 6'1", 170, and he's a freshman, so he's just trying to, just throw that football away to not take a big sack and pin the Minutemen even deeper. So now it'll bring up 3rd and long here for Liberty Bedford. Another 3rd and long. They've had quite a few of those here tonight.
Already a few of them tonight. Bedford takes the snap, and it'll be handed off to Williams, and he will be brought down, looks like by number 14, 51, check that, Logan Burnett, and that'll bring up 4th down and 9 with barely any yardage gained on this drive for the Minutemen of Liberty Bedford, with 7:38 and counting left to go in the first half.
And this is a 4th punt now for the Liberty Bedford Minutemen, which isn't what you want to see for Coach Darrell Robertson. It seems like they've tried to throw a lot of different things at this LCA defense, but this LCA defense, they haven't even really bended that much, honestly. They've been pretty dominant thus far in this ball game. So, if Darrell Robertson wants to keep that streak of no shutouts this year, he's going to have to change something up.
The snap to Julian is up, and he has punted it away, and that will take a few Minutemen yard bounce to about the LCA 48-47 yard line, where the Bulldogs will set up shop with 7:06 left to go in the first half. Your score 21-0 in favor of LCA.
Well, I said last drive for the LCA Bulldogs, they were starting at their own 21-yard line, and I said that a nice methodical drive would be something awesome, and then Gideon Davidson comes right out and scores a 76-yard touchdown, and I'm like, wow, 3 plays later I'm here.
He must have heard you.
Up 21-0. Yeah, he must have heard me, and now LCA once again has really good field position. Literally, they just need a 3 to 4 yard run here to already be in Liberty Bedford territory here to start their 3rd drive of the 2nd quarter.
Right. 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. Quarterback awaiting the snap. And the ball will be handed off to number 24, Eli Castaneda. And that will bring up not quite 1st down, but that'll bring up 2nd down and short for the Bulldogs. 2nd down and 1 for the Bulldogs.
Jeb Moon is now in at quarterback for the LCA Bulldogs. It had been Joe Borchers up until this point, except for one play when Jeb Moon went in on 4th down and they converted it. And Eli Castanedas came into the game, and Gideon Davidson is now on the sideline here on 2nd down and 1 for the LCA Bulldogs.
Jeb Moon back, and he will hand the ball off to number 24 once again. That'll be Eli Castaneda. And we have a Liberty Christian player, that number 78, Easton Ware. His helmet came off, so he has to exit the game for at least 1 play.
Yeah, number 52 is getting a little extracurricular there with number 78, Easton Ware. Number 52, Justin DeBusk, ended up taking his helmet and throwing it to the ground. Surprised there was no penalty call there. Easton Ware was looking for one. He had his hands out looking at the ref, and there was just a no call, so it'll bring up 3rd and short here for LCA.
In for Easton Ware is number 57, Cooper Hinckley, as Jeb Moon will line up under center. 1 wide out to the right and the left, and he will hand off the ball to Davidson. And Davidson will be stopped just short of the 1st down. It'll be 4th down and 1 yard to go. And it was tackled by number 2, Kentrell Evans on the play to bring up a 4th and short. And when you're up 21-0, I wonder if Coach Rocco has it in the back of his mind that he can afford to go on 4th down, especially in a short yardage situation like this one.
Yeah, for sure. And, LCA has the size on offensive line and the size advantage to do that. And they have the athletes like Gideon Davidson in the backfield to just hand it off to and plunge it forward.
And Borchers will just take it himself, and that sure seems like it's a first down for the Bulldog. No, they're saying it's a turnover on downs. He didn't get there. Oh, the ball was fumbled and recovered by the Minutemen of Liberty Bedford. It looked like that Jed Moon had crossed that first down marker, but he had fumbled the football, and that'll set up shop for Liberty Minutemen. And sometimes, Riley, when you take risks like that, they can end out good, or they can end out not so good.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Jeb Moon was in for every other play of that drive, and Joe Borchers came in. I mean, I think me and you were thinking exactly what Coach Rocco was thinking. Get the bigger quarterback in there to sneak it, because he's bigger, he's more physical, and the football just ends up getting popped out, and Liberty Bedford's going to have good field position.
Snap for the Minutemen will be handed off and will be tackled by a host of Bulldogs, led by number 22 Weston Woodard of the LCA Bulldogs. And that'll bring up second down and 10. Minutemen awaiting for their quarterback, Mason Davison, the freshman, as they break their huddle. One wide out to the right. Check that. 2 wide outs to the right, 2 to the left. And Davison is awaiting the snap for the Minutemen. Second and 10. And Davison hands off the ball, and he will be taken down by number 24, Eli Castaneda, for the LCA defense. And that'll bring up third down and 14 on Bedford's own 36-yard line.
Yeah, and Coach Robertson wanted to get a little bit of a new face in there at running back, getting the bigger back, number 9, Bryce Sneed. He is the backup running back at 5'9", 180, the senior. They got 2 seniors at running back for this Liberty Bedford team, but he just couldn't find anything. And this LCA defense continues to be stout in the run defense.
Less than 3:45 left to go in the first half. Davison awaiting the snap. Davison gets the snap and hands the ball off, and he will be taken down by a pack of, well, they'll call him no forward progress. And that ball will be stopped by number 51, Logan Burnett of the LCA Bulldogs defense, as the clock keeps ticking with about 3:20 left to go. Fourth down awaiting for the Minutemen.
Well, let me tell you, every single run in this second quarter and most of that first quarter for the Liberty Bedford Minutemen, they've been fighting for every yard. They've just really been fighting to get back to the line of scrimmage. I mean, just shout out to the defensive coordinator and the defensive line for this LCA Bulldogs team of continuing to do phenomenal.
Julian Lopez Behrens will punt the football, and that will take a Liberty Bedford Minutemen roll down to about the 28-yard line. And we have a penalty on the play at about the 40. Excuse me, the Liberty Bedford 40-yard line. And we'll wait to see what that penalty marker entails. 2:53 left to go in the first half. Your score, LCA 21, Liberty Bedford nothing. And it'll set up shop first and 10 for the Bulldogs, impending the penalty, which we're still waiting to hear back from. Yellow marker down, still down. And that'll be a holding on the special teams unit for the Liberty Bedford special teams. And that will bump up the football back for the Minutemen. And they will redo the fourth down punt. Julian Lopez Behrens awaiting the second attempt on the punt. 4th and 20 on the Bedford 30-yard line. Behrens gets it, and he will snap the ball. Not as many yards on this play. Bounces near the 50-yard line. And that's where the Bulldogs of LCA will set up shop at about the 48, 49-yard line with 2:42 left to go in the first half. And we will see if LCA can score on another drive.
Yeah, and another drive here where LCA is starting in very good field position. They're starting their drive on their own 48-yard line. Literally, and they have the opportunity to get 3 yards and already be in Liberty Bedford territory. And so we'll see if LCA can, get a few more handoffs to Gideon Davidson, get the ball in the hands of their playmakers to put this game to a 4-score lead for LCA in this second quarter with about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left here at the Liberty Bedford Minutemen Stadium.
2 wideouts to the left and the right, and Borchers is back in the game, and he will throw the ball to Davidson, and Davidson is taken down. And if he didn't take him down, he sure would have gotten the touchdown right there by number 5. For number 5, Damian Williams for the Minutemen. That was a touchdown-saving tackle from Williams, and that'll bring up another first down for the LCA Bulldogs.
Well, we've been talking about getting Davidson in the run game, but I mean, he's just as elusive in the pass game. And if we look at what Gideon Davidson has been able to do in the pass game this year, he's had 7 catches, 180 yards. It's 25 yards a catch, and he's had 2 touchdowns. So just another way that Gideon Davidson is a weapon for this LCA Bulldogs football team.
Bulldogs break the huddle. Borchers under center. Borchers hands off the ball to number 24, and that'll be Eli Casaneda. And he's taken down by number 44 for Liberty Bedford. That is Hunter Phillips on the play. Brings up 2nd down and 6 for the LCA Bulldogs with less than 2 minutes left to go in the first half. Before we hit halftime, your score 21-0 in favor of the Bulldogs. 2nd and 6 on their own, on the Bedford 19-yard line. Now in the red zone, the Bulldogs are. Borcher is back in the game under center, awaiting the snap. Hands off the ball to Casaneda. Casaneda running on the right side. Flag is thrown, and he'll keep going. That's a touchdown for LCA impending the penalty. But good run. But good run by Eli Casaneda. And we are awaiting the penalty. Holding on the LCA offense. That touchdown will be negated, but still a good run by Eli Casaneda for the touchdown that was waved off. And that will bring up 2nd down and 16 now on the LCA 29-yard line. Check that, the Liberty Bedford 29-yard line. Bring up 2nd down and 6 as the clock keeps ticking with 1:20 left to go in the first half. Bulldogs, coach sending Borchers in the huddle. Bulldogs break the huddle. Borchers will go under center to await the snap. 1 wide out to the left and the right. Borchers takes it himself, looks left, throws left. Intended receiver number 4, Cam Clinton, and he just could not hold on to it. And the clock will stop at 56 seconds left to go in the first half as we will bring up 3rd and 13 from their own from the Bedford 26-yard line.
And that's one that Cam Clinton wishes he had back. Joe Borchers put that ball right on the money and arguably put Cam Clinton in a position to get right past the first down marker in the first down chains to put LCA at another first down, but now they have another 3rd down here behind the sticks for the 3rd time in a row in the 3rd drive of this second quarter.
Borchers in the shotgun now, awaiting the snap. Rose in motion. Borchers has the ball. He's going to throw down the ball, and that ball would be incomplete, intended for Cam Clinton, and that's another one that he wishes he should have got back as he was in the end zone. The ball was in the diamond of his gloves, but just tipped off the top of his fingertips as we're looking at 49 seconds left to go in the first half. 4th and 13 on the Bedford 26-yard line.
Yeah, Joe Borchers had all day to throw, and he was just sitting back in. I mean, he could sit back in the pocket there and eat a nice warm bowl of stew back there. And, Joe Borchers once again threw a very pretty ball to Cam Clinton. And, you have to ask yourself, does the weather have some impact on this? It's cold. Yeah. But that's no excuse. No. Coach Rocco doesn't want to have those excuses for LCA, and so Cam Clinton has to come up, especially with 2 opportunities in a row for this football team.
Excuses are like heads. Everyone's got one, and it seems like that the weather is a factor in tonight's game. as shown by number 81 of the Liberty Bedford special teams unit, Julian Lopez Behrens, with 2 punts on the night that, or at least 1 punt on the night that did not go 5 yards, and that was just you would have to say that was weather indicted, as the Bulldogs look to go 4th and 13 now. And we'll see what they do. Borchers and the Bulldog offense will go for it on 4th down. 49 seconds left to go in the first down. Bulldogs up 21-0. Going trips to the right of the Bulldogs. And Borchers gets the snap. Borchers awaiting. Borchers runs the ball, and he has his helmet off. Borchers had his helmet thrown off, and there will be a penalty surely on that play. And he was brought down by number 54 for the, check that, 52, Justin DeBusque. And that'll be a penalty on the Liberty Bedford defense. And surely this will give the Liberty Christian Academy Bulldogs a first down, but we'll wait to see. A face mask call, check that.
Yeah, Justin DeBusque went in for the sack on Joe Borchers. Joe Borchers couldn't find anybody open. It was great coverage by Liberty Bedford on the back end in their secondary. And Joe Borchers tried climbing into the pocket to find something, and Justin DeBusque was right there, and he literally tackled him with just Joe Borchers' face mask, so that's obviously going to be the call here. And so LCA is going to have first down deep in the Liberty Bedford territory at the Liberty Bedford 15-yard line here with 43 seconds left here in the second quarter.
Like you said, 42 seconds to go. It'll be first down. It'll be first down for the LCA Bulldogs with Jeb Moon now in the game. And as Joe Borchers went out of the game because his helmet went off, and that ball was caught by number 44, Carson Meadows. And we have a timeout taken by the LCA Bulldogs. And we'll see if the LCA Bulldogs can punch one in right here with 32 seconds left to go in the first half.
What's interesting, though, is on that last play with that face mask call, it was still 4th down.
Yeah.
So LCA was still going for a 4th down at about 2 yards, and Jeb Moon came in and threw a little screen pass, as you said, to Carson Meadows to get the first down. And that was just something that I was not expecting. And so LCA will have a first down at the Liberty Bedford 10-yard line when they come out of the timeout. But, Scott, I just thought I would allude to a little bit more about Daryl Robertson. He's the first African-American head coach in Seminole District history. Now, there's been a string of many black assistant coaches in the Seminole District, African-American coaches in the Seminole District. And so this stretches back decades and decades. So for Daryl Robertson to put his name out there and come back to Liberty Bedford High School and want to create a winning football program, once again, I just think it's a great story and a really, really neat thing. You know, he's got experience coaching at EC Glass with Coach Lovelace, and he's got experience coaching at William Fleming. So he brings coaching experience as a defensive coordinator and as a defensive line coach, and he played defensive line in college. So I think that Liberty Bedford has a really good coach at the job, and so we'll see if he can do some stuff at Liberty Bedford in the years to come.
Borchers with the snap, and that pass will be caught by number 4, Cam Clinton, and the clock will keep running with less than 20 seconds to go, but we will have the player was tackled by number 14, Noah Crumpacker, with 17.6 seconds left to go in the first half. And ladies and gentlemen, Cam Clinton is sitting on the ground and he's not getting up. We'll see if he can safely get off the field, but it seems to be his right. He's holding his right knee, and we will see if he can get off the field in a safe manner. LCA up on Liberty Bedford 21-0 with 17.6 seconds left to go in the first half. Second down and 2 as we wait for Cam Clinton. And he seems to be going up on his own power. He's trying not to put any weight down on that right leg as he comes off the field the best he can. And that is definitely a good sight to see. One of your players, when he goes down, it's a good sight to see for him to get back up on his own strength and walk off the field.
Well, you hope it's not anything too serious because, as we know, Reagan Burgess from the interview this morning has already gone out this season for 3 weeks. You know, last week he had an interception against Heritage that really helped seal the deal for the LCA Bulldogs, a big play in that game. And when he got tackled, he separated his shoulder, and he's going to be out for 3 weeks. So you hope it's not something serious for Cam Clinton. You know, a senior, a leader on this team, and definitely a guy that Joe Borchers loves getting the ball to. And he's also a presence on the defensive side of the football, and he makes a lot of great plays for this LCA Bulldogs defense and on the offensive side of the football.
LCA sitting pretty at 2nd and 2 with 17.6 seconds left to go. You're scored 21-0, 20 seconds to go in the first half. We'll see if the Bulldogs can punch one in with 20 seconds left to go. And just like you said, Riley, there are a lot of injuries that Rocco talked about this morning to us. And whether it be the separated shoulder or the simple cold, we'll see how it gets checked out as Borchers snaps the ball. Davidson, the ball handed off to Davidson, and that will be a touchdown for the LCA Bulldogs with 15.8 seconds left to go in the first half. And just like that, LCA goes up another score, and that'll mark it at 27-0, pending the extra point try.
And that's the third touchdown of the ball game here for Gideon Davidson, and he's reached touchdown number 20, Scout.
Yeah.
So what a milestone for Gideon Davidson and the LCA Bulldogs. One of the weapons, only a sophomore still with the LCA Bulldogs, and Ryan Pettit will be on to kick the extra point.
Pettit waiting for the snap that will be held by Jeb Moon. Awaiting the snap. Good snap, good hold. And the kick is up, and it is good, which makes it 28-0. The Bulldogs in favor with 15.8 seconds left to go. And Riley, at this point, we're seeing LCA, quite frankly, running away with it as we enter 15.8 seconds closer until halftime.
Yeah, and I mean, I think both of us kind of had that thought process coming into this game. You know, LCA is the top team right now in the Seminole District, and, you know, it seems like one of the last team that really is going to give them a struggle on their schedule is the last game of the season against EC Glass. And, you know, the Liberty Minutemen, you just got to give them time. You know, Coach Darrell Robertson put it best. The community and the players, you know, it's a very small community here in Bedford, Virginia, but during that 2002 season and in the years after that, the community was all around each other, and they really just loved watching the Liberty Bedford Minutemen play football, and that's what Darrell Robertson wants to bring back to this high school football team and the high school football program. And so you just got to give him time. You know, he's already instilling the right things that you want a coach to instill into football players, and he's already getting players that come out on the field. You know, there was 35 players at his first meeting this season, and he's got 45 players dressed up and ready to go on the sidelines, which is great to see in a coach's first year at a high school, and let alone a high school program.
And that's definitely good numbers to see, especially a high school like Liberty Bedford. Liberty Bedford having the lowest attendance numbers in the Seminole District, as we see Pettit awaiting the kickoff, waiting on the official signal, and he will go and kick it away. And that's a beautiful kick, and that'll be attempted to be returned by number 5, Damian Williams, and he will be brought down, tackled by number 8. Who else? Gideon Davidson. He can do it all on offense as well as on special teams, Riley, with 10.3 seconds left to go in the first half.
Yeah, Scout, and with this next drive coming up for the Liberty Minutemen, you just got to keep telling yourself that more than likely they're just going to do one run play and they're going to head into halftime down by 4 scores. But yet again, we're going to keep bringing this up. Darrell Robertson has not gotten shut out yet, so we'll see if he can put some points on the board in the second half for his Liberty Bedford team against this stout LCA defense up until this point.
And Liberty Bedford definitely has some fight in the dog per se, but not up against the Bulldogs right now. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Minutemen with 10.3 seconds left to go in the first half. And we will have an official's penalty, and that will be a false start with 9.1 seconds left to go. It'll bring up 1st and 15 on the redo of the first down. That'll be 1st and 15 on their own 15-yard line for the Minutemen. And like you said, Riley, there's a lot of fight in this Minutemen squad. As you've mentioned, there hasn't been any shutouts by that the Minutemen have occurred, as it'll be 1st and 15 on their own 15-yard line. The Minutemen. Davison, the snap, pass to Williams, and he will run down the right side, and he will avoid some tacklers, and they will be brought down by number 51 and number 9, Jeb Moon, and number 51, Logan Burnett. And we will have Liberty Bedford will take a timeout with 0.2 seconds left to go in the first half, just in time to get one more play off, bring up 2nd down.
Well, you have to think with Daryl Robertson taking a timeout there, you have to think he's going to take a shot of some sort with Mason Davison. I mean, Coach Robertson is, too decorated of a coach. He's only been an assistant coach, but, I mean, you're not going to take a timeout with 0.2 seconds left to just break out of the huddle and run the football again.
Right.
You got to think Daryl Robertson's going to want to take a shot because he wants to put points on the board against his LCA Bulldogs before halftime. So we'll see what's going to happen here with one play left to go here in the half.
LCA on top of the Seminole District, so you would expect that they would be prepared for something like this if the Minutemen were to take a long ball shot. Mason Davison, the freshman, doing the best that he can for the Minutemen as the officials call to break the huddles. With 0.2 seconds left in the first half, 2nd and 7 for the Minutemen on their own 23-yard line. As soon as the ball is snapped, that clock will hit double zeros. 2nd and 7, 0.2 left to go. Davison awaiting the snap. Officials whistle. Davison awaiting the snap, and the clock hits zeros, and that will be an incomplete pass by Davison, intended for number 2, Kentrell Evans, and that will bring us to halftime. Your score, the Liberty Christian Academy Bulldogs 28, the Liberty Bedford High School Minutemen 0. And that'll bring us to halftime and that'll bring us to halftime. This has been LCA Bulldog football on 90.9 The Light.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fun.
Sarah's worried about her husband. Jack has been coming home later than usual, blaming long hours at the office. But Jack doesn't work in an office. He works in a local cinnamon bun shop. Sarah's also finding hair that isn't hers. One day, Jack leaves the house in a hurry, using the cinnamon shortage crisis in Sri Lanka as an excuse. So, Sarah follows his car to a building right off Route 29. There, sure enough, she finds her husband in a position most compromising, the downward dog with a tabby cat curled up on his back. Now, cat yoga at the Lynchburg Humane Society is something they do together. And for $10 a session, you too could perfect your chaturanga surrounded by friendly felines. Call now to find out when the next session is at 434-448-0088 or lynchburghumane.org. It won't solve the Sri Lankan cinnamon crisis, but it might help you find your zen. Just don't hide it from your wife.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse? Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Sarah's worried about her husband. Jack has been coming home later than usual, blaming long hours at the office. But Jack doesn't work in an office. He works in a local cinnamon bun shop. Sarah's also finding hair that isn't hers. One day, Jack leaves the house in a hurry, using the cinnamon shortage crisis in Sri Lanka as an excuse. So, Sarah follows his car to a building right off Route 29. There, sure enough, she finds her husband in a position most compromising, the downward dog with a tabby cat curled up on his back. Now, cat yoga at the Lynchburg Humane Society is something they do together. And for $10 a session, you too could perfect your chaturanga surrounded by friendly felines. Call now to find out when the next session is at 434-448-0088 or lynchburghumane.org. It won't solve the Sri Lankan cinnamon crisis, but it might help you find your zen. Just don't hide it from your wife.
This is
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse? Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Sarah's worried about her husband. Jack has been coming home later than usual, blaming long hours at the office. But Jack doesn't work in an office. He works in a local cinnamon bun shop. Sarah's also finding hair that isn't hers. One day, Jack leaves the house in a hurry, using the cinnamon shortage crisis in Sri Lanka as an excuse. So, Sarah follows his car to a building right off Route 29. There, sure enough, she finds her husband in a position most compromising, the downward dog with a tabby cat curled up on his back. Now, cat yoga at the Lynchburg Humane Society is something they do together. And for $10 a session, you too could perfect your chaturanga surrounded by friendly felines. Call now to find out when the next session is at 434-448-0088 or lynchburghumane.org. It won't solve the Sri Lankan cinnamon crisis, but it might help you find your zen. Just don't hide it from your wife.
This is LCA.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse? Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit stoptextstoprex.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Sarah's worried about her husband. Jack has been coming home later than usual, blaming long hours at the office. But Jack doesn't work in an office. He works in a local cinnamon bun shop. Sarah's also finding hair that isn't hers. One day, Jack leaves the house in a hurry, using the cinnamon shortage crisis in Sri Lanka as an excuse. So, Sarah follows his car to a building right off Route 29. There, sure enough, she finds her husband in a position most compromising, the downward dog with a tabby cat curled up on his back. Now, cat yoga at the Lynchburg Humane Society is something they do together. And for $10 a session, you too could perfect your chaturanga surrounded by friendly felines. Call now to find out when the next session is at 434-448-0088 or lynchburghumane.org. It won't solve the Sri Lankan cinnamon crisis, but it might help you find your zen. Just don't hide it from your wife.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit stoptextstoprex.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Sarah's worried about her husband. Jack has been coming home later than usual, blaming long hours at the office. But Jack doesn't work in an office. He works in a local cinnamon bun shop. Sarah's also finding hair that isn't hers. One day, Jack leaves the house in a hurry, using the cinnamon shortage crisis in Sri Lanka as an excuse. So, Sarah follows his car to a building right off Route 29. There, sure enough, she finds her husband in a position most compromising, the downward dog with a tabby cat curled up on his back. Now, cat yoga at the Lynchburg Humane Society is something they do together. And for $10 a session, you too could perfect your chaturanga surrounded by friendly felines. Call now to find out when the next session is at 434-448-0088 or lynchburghumane.org. It won't solve the Sri Lankan cinnamon crisis, but it might help you find your zen. Just don't hide it from your wife.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's
Only
Olivia
you
Munn with
can
my shelter
prevent
pets, Frankie and
wildfires.
Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
This is LCA football right tackle Easton Ware. You're listening to LCA football.
But he says that it's all rushing.
And welcome back to the Minutemen Stadium here in Bedford, Virginia. Your halftime update. LCA up on top of Liberty Bedford 28-0. And let's go up into the Seminole District for a little district updates around, well, the district. And Heritage taking on JF. The Pioneers up on them early 20-0. That game has entered the third quarter. Let's move on. Rustburg taking on EC Glass. Glass holding Rustburg to only 14 points as Glass is up on them 28-14. That game has not come out of halftime yet. We'll have more updates on that later on. And here, Brookville, Amherst County, as Amherst hosts Brookville. Brookville up 8-0 going into the third quarter. We'll have more updates on that as well. And we'll have one more as far as the region is concerned. Lord Botetourt taking on Northside. Lord Botetourt up 35-0 on Northside. Would not be surprised if LCA were to play Lord Botetourt in the playoffs later this season. And so that's your scores around the area from 90.9. And now I'm going to throw it over to Riley because we have a good segment about Coach Robertson of Liberty Bedford.
She plans to attend college after graduating from Liberty High School and continue her education to a master's program.
Yeah, for sure. And let's just go ahead and talk about one thing that's been near and dear to Coach Robertson's heart, and that's the Poindexter Memorial Stone. It's been a really kind of a key thing for this football team. It's a ritual that began more than 20 years ago, and it was suspended the last few years because of the COVID-19, and we know all the tragedy and things that have happened with that. You know, the worldwide shutdown and everything with that. And the new head coach, Daryl Robertson, obviously, he is trying to revive this Poindexter Memorial Stone because, after all, for Robertson, the Memorial Stone is essentially family. The stone is for Jamel Mel Poindexter, who was shot and killed during a robbery in 1998. He was a senior on the Liberty football team and was gunned down between the team's first and second game that season. This tragedy would go on to stun the Liberty community, not only the community and Poindexter's family, but it would stun the football team. And Daryl Robertson is a guy who looked up to his older relative and was a huge influence on his football career. And Daryl Robertson is actually the cousin of Jamel Poindexter, and the memorial holds a special significance to him. And after the last few years, it's the time and negligence has taken a toll on the Poindexter Memorial Stone, and so it has been a plan for Daryl Robertson to revive and revamp the Liberty Stone. The picture is starting to get cracked. The stone is starting to get a little bit dirty. So Coach Robertson really wants to revamp that stone and make it look nice and really make it a centerpiece of his football program. And just to kind of make you guys understand how much of an important memorial this is to the Liberty Bedford High School program, there's a few quotes that some of Coach Robertson's players said, and one of those quotes is from Mason Davison, the freshman quarterback for the Liberty Bedford High School, and he said that it represents Liberty pride, and that guy really put everything he had out there, and he's gone now. He left us so early, so he touched the rock before every game to honor him and hopefully give us good luck. And then one other quote that a senior said, Bryce Sneed said, "To me, touching the stone means just playing for your brothers, playing for who's next to you, and just remembering Poindexter because he played here and we were doing what he did, fulfilling what he wanted to do." And so Robertson's aim again is to keep that remembrance and honor going on for many years to come in his football program. And he's already trying to start with these group of young players and instill that into them so that they can keep that memory and memorial going for years to come. Now, Scout, that was a very energetic second quarter. You want to go through some stats?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Through both teams thus far into this football game?
Yeah, let's do it right here, right now. So for the halftime stats, we got Gideon Davidson with 125 total yards, 3 total TDs, some rushing, some completed touchdowns. Carson Clinton, we've said his name a lot here tonight. 29-yard receiving touchdown, 2 catches for 35 total yards, and he was had to leave in the second quarter because he had an injury. That was the one where he thankfully left the field in his own strength. And as far as the Bedford offense is concerned, 33 total yards on the first drive and all on the 35-yard run from Evans. And since that first drive, you've had 5 drives for, get this, -1 total yards, 4 penalties for 30 yards. If you even want a chance to hang with LCA in this game, in this environment, you can't have too many penalties in this game.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, LCA kind of reminds me of the story of the Jefferson Forest game back at Williams Stadium earlier this season. The LCA Bulldogs held Jefferson Forest to just 45 yards of total offense through the first half. And really, without Kentrell Evans' 35-yard carry early on in this ball game,
yes,
Liberty Bedford would have absolutely nothing in the yards column on the offensive side of the football. And I mean, Gideon Davidson, I mean, you've already said it as far as stats go. He's done, once again, he's had another phenomenal game running the football. You said he's had 125 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns. And it'll be interesting to see if Coach Rocco will start him in this half or if he'll lean to some backups to kind of keep his guys fresh. Because as he said this morning, there's a lot of bumps and bruises going around not only his football team, but all the other teams in the Seminole District through 8 games of play thus far this season.
And just like you said, Riley, a lot of injuries that have plagued this LCA roster, whether it be to the shoulder separation or to the simple code that Coach Rocco had talked about this morning. There have been guys that have had to step up and take on these roles, and LCA has leaders to do that as we are awaiting 1 minute until the start of the second half. And I just wonder if the shutout streak is going to end right here. But we're going to take a quick break before we come back. This has been LCA Football on 90.9 The Light.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
This is LCA Football right tackle Easton Ware. You're listening to LCA Football on 90.9 The Light.
Thank you, and now we're back at Minutemen Stadium here in Bedford, Virginia, with the score in LCA's favor, 28-0, headed into the second half. And we were talking about how this season, Coach Robertson has made it a point to not be shut out at all this season, and he has certainly done that this year so far. But LCA right now is giving them a shutout, and we'll see if the Bedford Minutemen have any fight in them to put some points on the board, even if it's a field goal.
Yeah, we will for sure, and Liberty Bedford will receive the opening kickoff in this second half, and so we'll see if Daryl Robertson can go down the field and end up putting it in the end zone. But Scout, as we've watched LCA at Williams Stadium this season and at a few of their away games, it seems like the LCA defense most of the time plays a lot better in the second half, and it seems like they're a really good second half defense. We saw that a lot against Heritage. They came up with a big pick in the second half, and so we'll see what they can do here in the second half from a defensive standpoint. Coach Rocco is probably going to get a lot of different guys in the game. He pulled up a few JV players, as he said this morning, so it'll definitely be interesting to see if LCA's defense can keep the shutout on the board.
And we'll see exactly that as LCA will kick the ball off to the Bedford Minutemen. And here is the kickoff, and that ball will be caught and returned by number 14, Noah Crumpacker, and he will be brought down at approximately the 41-yard line, and that'll set up shop for the Minutemen for the first drive of the second half. 1st and 10 on their own 41-yard line.
And if you're the Liberty Minutemen, this is the best field position that you've gotten to start a drive in this game. And so, Scout, you said it in the halftime report that the Minutemen only have 34 total yards of offense, so it'll be interesting to see with better field position and not really pinned deep in their own territory to see if Mason Davison, with some room, can create some plays, can create some first downs, and possibly put his team in field goal position to put some points on the board.
Davison in the snap, ready to go for the Minutemen of Liberty Bedford High School, awaiting the snap in the shotgun formation. One wide out to the left, two to the left, one to the right. And the snap by Davison, and that ball is caught by Raekwon Blake, and Blake breaks the tackle, and he will be brought down by Gideon Davidson. What a run by Liberty Bedford, and he will be brought down. Raekwon Blake will be brought down at approximately the 31-yard line, and this is the exact spark that Liberty Bedford needed coming out of halftime.
Yeah, for sure, and that was a gain of about 30 yards there on first down, and that gives them now 64 yards of total offense, and that's just the play that Daryl Robertson is looking for from this offense, just a simple screen pass and letting the receiver work and getting blocks downfield.
Absolutely. It is the play that you need. Again, 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. Davison, the snap. He's going to roll out of the pocket, and he will get rid of the football, and that ball was pitched and caught by number 51, Logan Burnett, and that will be a turnover, and a very costly turnover after a big play by Liberty Bedford, and that will set up shot for the LCA offense come 1st and 10 on their own 42-yard line. But great presence of mind by Logan Burnett on that play, but I do see a yellow marker down.
Personal foul against Liberty, 15 yards.
Which Liberty? All right. And that'll be a personal foul against the Minutemen, and that will push them back. Will push LCA forward, rather. The official says unsportsmanlike or personal foul on Liberty, but you know, when you have Liberty Christian Academy and Liberty Bedford High School, quite frankly, what are you talking about? But it'll bring up 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs on the Bedford 42-yard line. Borchers in the game in the second half, 11-17 left to go. Under center, Borchers will hand off to Davidson. Davidson runs to the right, jukes a man, attempts to, and is brought down, and that'll be number 5. That'll be Damian Williams. And we've talked about him a few times tonight on both sides of the ball. Riley, you have a lot of players on this Liberty Bedford team that play both ways, and Damian Williams surely does that, as we have an official's timeout to make sure that Damian Williams is okay. 11:07 left to go in the third quarter. We'll bring up 1st and 10 on the Bedford 19, and they are in the red zone, the Bulldogs of Liberty Christian Academy. Borchers in the huddle, giving his play to his guys so that they can attempt to score on this drive once again. And then if that were the case, it would be their fifth touchdown of the night.
If you're Liberty Bedford, this isn't how you want to start the second half.
No.
You get prime field position, you get a big play on first down, then your quarterback scrambles to the right, tries to avoid a sack, just tosses it up for dear life. It gets picked off by Logan Burnett for LCA, and now LCA is driving down the field after a 23-yard run by Gideon Davidson.
LCA 1st and 10 in the red zone. Borchers under center. Borchers will hand off to number 24, and that'll be, and he runs down to the 8-yard line. That'll be Eli Castaneda to get a little bit of gain right there, and that will bring up another first down for the LCA Bulldogs. Tackle made by number 88, Aaron Robertson, one of the captains for the Minutemen tonight. As Borchers gives his play to his crew as they're in the huddle. Looking at 10:36 left to go. First down, 1st and goal on the 8-yard line. Check that. Borchers under center. One wide out to the left and the right. Castaneda in the backfield, and he will get the ball handed off to him, and that'll be a touchdown for LCA. Eli Castaneda, number 24, and that is their fifth. That is LCA's 5th touchdown on the night with 10:20 left to go in the third quarter, and just a simple pitch or handoff play right there. Good touchdown. Now we're sitting at 34-0, 35 pending the extra point. Riley.
Yeah, and I mean, they had 3 run plays. It started off with the Gideon Davidson 23-yard run, then the Eli Castaneda 11-yard run and then the 9-yard run for a touchdown, and that's how we've gotten to 34-0 here, awaiting the extra point from Ryan Pettit so that LCA can take a 5-score lead.
Pettit waiting the snap from Jeb Moon, the holder. And that kick is up, and that kick is good. And we will have 35-0 for LCA with 10:20 left to go in the third quarter. And we will have, and we are about one touchdown away from a running clock, Riley. And, you know, we were talking about the struggles that Liberty Bedford has had all season long, not winning a game, but they still do have some fight in them going into this game. Like you said, they hadn't been shut out all year, and it's just hopefully they'll continue that streak because, you know, grit and grace for this team.
Yeah, and there's a rule in the Seminole District now where if you get past 34 points in a football game, there will be a running clock. So that's what we are going to see here for the remainder of this third quarter, unless Coach Robertson can dial up some offensive plays to put his team in the end zone to make this a 35-7 game. And, you know, it seemed like it seemed that Liberty Bedford was in a prime position to start the third quarter with their first drive after they had received the ball. But as we know, Mason Davidson threw an interception to Logan Burnett. So now they're going to receive the ball down by 35 instead of down by 28.
Exactly. We'll see what Davidson does on this drive as Pettit kicks off the ball. And that ball will be caught and returned by number 6, Raekwon Blake. And Blake still running the ball as he is brought down by number 51, Logan Barnett. The player that had that interception on the Minutemen's last drive. And that'll bring up 1st and 10 on the Minutemen 23-yard line. And the clock will continue to run, like you said, running clock after 34 points with a little over 10 minutes left to go in the third quarter. The Minutemen down 35-0. And we will see Davison see if he can redeem himself on this drive after turning the ball over. 1st and 10 for the Minutemen. And that ball is handed off to number 9, Bryce Sneed. And Sneed can get a little bit of forward progress, but not much. And he was taken down by the LCA defense. The nose tackle, number 78, Easton Ware. And Easton Ware, another one of LCA's leaders on this squad, as it'll bring up 2nd and 8 on the 25-yard line for the Minutemen.
Well, we've noticed to start, you know, the beginning of the game, they had a big run by Kentrell Evans and then a big pass to start the third quarter. And since then, for both halves thus far, there hasn't been a whole lot of room that LCA's been giving in the run game on the defensive front.
And Minutemen will have another play up their sleeve, and they will have that ball running it to about the 30-yard line. That ball was ran, and it was taken down by number 22, Weston Woodward, and number 78, Easton Ware. And that ball, as Mason Davison looks on.
Liberty Bedford's going to have a 3rd and short here, something we haven't really noticed that they've had a lot due to penalties. They've been behind the sticks a lot this whole game. So we'll see with a 3rd and manageable here for Mason Davison, the freshman quarterback in this Minutemen offense, if they can convert here to keep the drive alive.
We'll see if they do convert right here. Davison with the snap, Davison with the handoff, and I don't think he got it on that 3rd down attempt.
He's going to be about a yard short.
Yeah, he's going to be about a yard short. That ball was ran by number 2, Kentrell Evans, and it'll be 4th and very short for the Minutemen, going on 4th down with 8:08, 8:07 left to go in the third quarter. That ball will be placed on the 32-yard line. The Minutemen looking for one more yard, and it seems like, Riley, when you're down 35, you're going to go for it right here, and that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. Coach Robertson just showing us that grit and that no quit in this team, and we'll see if they can convert here once again to keep the drive alive on 4th and 1.
Grit and no quit indeed, but it's a QB draw from number 6, Raekwon Blake, and he will not get the first down. That is a turnover on downs, so 7:40 left to go in the third quarter, and the LCA stops that ball. The tackle was made by Eli Castaneda. We've heard his name a lot on both sides of the ball. Liberty Bedford's not the only team that has players playing both ways. examples would be Castaneda, Jeb Moon, and Gideon Davidson, just for example, for the Liberty Christian Academy Bulldogs. Sitting pretty at 7:37 left to go in the third quarter. 1st and 10 for the Liberty Christian Bulldogs as they break the huddle. The O-line moving straight to the line of scrimmage from the huddle on the sideline, where we will see Borchers still in the game.
Yeah, the LCA Bulldogs are going to begin this drive from the Liberty Bedford 30-yard line.
And that ball was pitched off, and it was taken. That ball was ran by number 24, Eli Castaneda, brought down by the Minutemen defense.
And that was a loss of 3 yards on the carry for Eli Castaneda, so a great job by pursuit from the defensive front and the middle linebackers for this Minutemen defense. And that's a positive note for the defense because there hasn't been a whole lot of negative yards and tackles for loss for this defense thus far in this game. It seems like the LCA Bulldogs have been able to run it at will thus far in the game, and they've been able to get chunk yardages on 1st down and 2nd down with the run.
Right. That tackle made by number 24, Jacob Balderston. Borchers in the shotgun formation. He'll snap the ball, and he will throw it. And that ball was tipped and incomplete, broken up by number 14, Noah Crumpacker. He seems to be one of the leaders for the Liberty Bedford team tonight with his presence. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 13 for the Bulldogs with 6:05 left to go in the third quarter.
The one thing I will say that's been a big positive for Daryl Robertson's defense is their secondary.
Yes.
Yes, they've allowed some passing yards to some weapons for LCA, but a lot of the passes we've seen either broken up or the throw has just been missed or overthrown by Joe Borchers. So that's a testament to the secondary staying on the weapons for LCA.
Borchers takes the snap, rolls to the left side, and that ball is thrown and caught by number 21 of the LCA Bulldogs, Josh Pillay, and that will be a 1st down, 3rd down conversion by the LCA Bulldogs. And what a play, tackle made by 14, again, Noah Crumpacker, and that'll bring up 1st down for the LCA Bulldogs. 5:15 left to go in the third.
Well, it seems just when you give positive notes to Liberty Bedford, they seem to kind of drown that out there. And right as I was saying that Liberty Bedford's defense had done well in the passing game, they just let up a big 3rd down conversion to LCA to keep their drive alive with a 3rd and 9. Pass completed to Josh Paletti, just like you said, Scout. And now there's an injured player down for Liberty Bedford's defense, and the training staff is running out to give him attention. I
was watching on the field, and it seemed like either Coach Robertson or an assistant for Liberty Bedford told the player to get down on the ground. And, I mean, I hope he's all right. But, you know, I've seen this in high school sports before where you told a player to get on the ground and, you know, to get some time with your players. But for all sakes, I hope he's okay. I did not see the number for the Liberty Bedford Minutemen player that was down. Sure hope that he's all right as we look at 5:04 left to go in the third quarter. Your score 35-0 coming from the LCA, or from the Bedford 15-yard line. And that player was number 54, Marcus Kreider, one of the seniors on this Bedford squad. And it seems like he's coming up and walking on his own strength, and that's definitely a good sign.
Yeah, for sure. He's walking off on his own power, but as we see him walking towards the sideline, he's grabbing down at that right quad area, so we hope that he is okay. A senior leader on this Liberty Bedford team.
Yes.
And this Liberty Bedford defense.
5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. LCA up 35-0. Setting up shop at Bedford's 15-yard line. They are in the red zone. Bulldogs are. Borchers under center. Asks for motion to the left side. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. And that ball is handed off to number 24, Castaneda. Castaneda running, and he will, waiting on the official signal. It seemed like, no, he stepped out of bounds at about the 3-yard line, as that will be another first down for LCA. It'll be 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. 4 minutes and 18 seconds left to go in the third quarter, with LCA up 35-0, looking to score again.
Yeah, and Elijah Castaneda has done a great job coming in for Gideon Davidson, Caleb Davidson. I think Rocco not only wants to get his backups in the game, but he wants to get those backup guys reps just in case, a Gideon Davidson or Caleb Davidson gets hurt.
Yes.
And I think Elijah Castaneda has answered the call, and he's done phenomenal running the football so far for LCA.
Borchers hands off to Castaneda again, and he will score for the Bulldogs of LCA, and that is a touchdown, as we are looking at 41-0 LCA with 3:47 left to go in the third quarter. And right now, Riley, they are pouring it on, 42 points pending with the extra point.
Yeah, and that's the second touchdown of the quarter for Elijah Castaneda. He had one from 9 yards and that one from 3 yards out, and that makes it 3 total touchdowns thus far in the season for Elijah Castaneda, and it puts the LCA Bulldogs up 41-0, just like you said, Scout awaiting the extra point from Ryan Pettit.
The snap is good, the hold is good, and that kick is no good. That kick just came up just short, and we are sitting pretty at 41 points in favor of LCA, 41-0 with 3:47 left to go in the third quarter. And it seemed like the kicker was making his extra points all night, but, every dog has its day, whether it's good or bad, Riley.
Yeah, definitely an unusual mishap for Ryan Pettit. He's been, phenomenal all year on extra points, and I just think he got too much of the tee on that kick, and therefore it just didn't get high enough off the ground, and he didn't get enough leg on it.
Because it wasn't tipped, and it had a good spin on it, but it just came up short for the LCA Bulldogs, as like you said, as Pettit looks on from that kick. As we're reminded by tonight with a win tonight for the LCA Bulldogs, it'll be Coach Rocco's career 250th win. Legendary accomplishment for Coach Rocco, and especially for him, his family, and the staff of Liberty Christian Academy, as Pettit looks to kick off for the Bulldogs, as the official has given his signal. 3:44 left to go in the third quarter and counting. 41-0 for LCA. Kickoff is underway, as this ball is definitely returnable, and that ball will be returned by number 6. That'll be Raekwon Blake, and he takes the ball down to the 21-yard line. Does his best to run right there. Taken down by Eli Castaneda, and we've been saying his name all night, Riley.
Yeah, for sure, and it seems like he's been able to do it on not only the offensive side of the football, but the defensive side of the football. As I said before, LCA is getting a lot of their backups in, getting them a lot of time, and Elijah Castaneda has been a guy at the middle linebacker position that's been able to fill gaps and tackle guys for a minimal gain or a loss of yards.
And those are the kinds of reps you need, because you never know what can happen if a Gideon Davidson, heaven forbid, would get injured, especially come playoff time. Bedford running the football, and that'll be ran by Kentrell Evans, and he will step out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. It's pushed out of bounds by number 9, Jeb Moon, the backup quarterback, also playing some defense right there, as we see 2:45 left to go in the third quarter. 1st and 10 for the mighty Minutemen.
Yeah, and that was a positive gain there from Kentrell Evans. He's really been the only weapon that has really been able to get things going on the ground for the Minutemen in this game. And he's just showing, once again, why him running the football outside, he can be elusive and create space and get big gains.
Absolutely. Minutemen looking to avoid the shutout as Kentrell Evans runs the ball again, and he will barely miss the first down marker. He was tackled by one of the Liberty Christian Academy players, number 9, Jeb Moon, again coming up on that tackle with about 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter. And the streak right now is still alive for Coach Robertson to keep the shutout-less streak alive. Less than 2 minutes left to go. 2nd down and 1 on the 42-yard line for the mighty Minutemen of Liberty Bedford. Davison awaiting the snap, receives the snap. Number 9, Bryce Sneed, runs the ball, and he will be taken down by a pack of Bulldogs led by number 51, Logan Burnett, and number 88 for Liberty, Issam Najafor.
Yeah, that was a loss of 6 yards there for Bryce Sneed. Just, once again, a great pursuit by the defensive front for LCA, for LCA's defense. I mean, right now, looking at the defensive line for LCA and the offensive line for Liberty Bedford, the size difference is just unbelievable. And so the LCA Bulldogs are able to shut off blocks and get in the backfield. And that's what happened right there on Bryce Sneed. Now it'll be third and a lot longer than it once was at 2nd and 2. Now it'll be 3rd and 6 for the Liberty Minutemen from the 38-yard line.
Coming up on less than a minute left to go in the third quarter. Davison looking, and he throws the ball, and it is caught by number 5, Damian Williams, and that will get him close to the first down marker, brought down by number 22, Weston Woodard, and they will be just short of the first down marker. That'll bring up 4th down and short, less than a yard, with about 35 seconds left to go. That clock is ticking mighty fast, and Bedford's moving. Here's the handoff from Davison to Kentrell Evans, and he will not get the first down. That will be a turnover on downs, and by number 32, Aaron Mason of the LCA defense, and that will be a turnover on downs with 21 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Your score 41-0 LCA.
Aaron Mason did a great job there by getting off the block of number 52, Justin DeBusk, take Kentrell Evans in the backfield to not let Kentrell Evans get the first down and keep the drive alive for Liberty Bedford. And as we've been saying this whole broadcast, Daryl Robertson has not been shut out yet this season. He does not want to be shut out here tonight. But right now, LCA's defense and offense have been up to the challenge, and it's still a shutout here with about 10 seconds remaining here in the third quarter.
You know, LCA with 41 points up on Liberty Bedford, the running clock still applies in this VHSL Seminole District matchup as we move to the fourth quarter. And now Coach Robertson for Liberty Bedford has 1 quarter left until the shutout streak ends. Will he do it in the fourth quarter? We'll find out. This has been LCA football on 90.9 The Light.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In 05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in 09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
This is LCA football quarterback Joe Borchers, and you're listening to LCA football on 90.9 The Light.
Thank you, Joe, and welcome back to Minutemen Stadium here in Bedford, Virginia, where the LCA Bulldogs set up shop once again, except it's not Joe Borchers in the game. That is Jeb Moon, and he will be on the run, and that ball will be incomplete, intended for his receiver, number 47, Jonathan Thompson, and that ball will be incomplete courtesy of the Minutemen defense, as we are looking at 2nd and 10 from the 41-yard line with about 11:15 left to go in the fourth quarter, second half, and LCA is up 41-0.
That ball is almost picked off as well by number 5, Damian Williams, for the Liberty Bedford Minutemen.
Yeah.
And that was just a rare miscue between Joe Borchers and his receiver, and it almost cost him a turnover there.
Right, Jeb Moon in now at quarterback, and that'll be a handoff to Castaneda. Castaneda will run the ball, and he ran it a good 20 yards before being taken down by number 2, Kentrell Evans. Kentrell Evans, one of the lights in the dark of this Liberty Bedford defense, as that'll be a brand new set of downs for LCA coming up on 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line. Check that, the Liberty Bedford 23-yard line. 10 minutes, 25 seconds, and counting down left to go in the fourth quarter, as there is 1 quarter left for Coach Robertson of Bedford to keep the shutoutless streak alive. 1st and 10 for Moon. Moon hands off the ball to Castaneda. Castaneda running the ball, and he will definitely be inside the 5-yard line. And that'll be another first down for LCA. That'll bring up 1st and goal from about the 3-yard line, as we have some stats to tell you.
Yeah, Kentrell Evans through 3 quarters has 15 carries and 85 rushing yards. Elijah Castaneda in the 3rd quarter had 2 rushing touchdowns in the 3rd quarter from 9 yards out and 3 yards out. Evans has 85 total yards, and the rest of the Bedford offense has 4 total yards. So let's just say Kentrell Evans has gotten the bulk of the work.
Absolutely.
And, pretty much he's been the whole offense for Liberty Bedford tonight.
He is what Liberty Bedford is that Gideon Davidson is for LCA, definitely the workhorse of this Bedford team. Moon fakes the handoff, runs left, waiting on his blockers, and runs into the end zone. That'll be another LCA touchdown for the Bulldogs. Jeb Moon with his rushing touchdown of the night, and that'll bring up the score to be 47-0 with 9:16 left to go in the 4th quarter. And, career number win 250 for Coach Rocco of LCA. It's looking more closer and closer now that we're getting closer to the end of the game. Pending an extra point, we're going to look at 48-0 pending an extra point. I said that last time, pending the extra point, and Pettit missed it. We'll see if he makes it this time. Pettit awaiting the snap from Jeb Moon, the holder. Good snap, good hold, and that ball is up, and that ball is good.
Extra point attempt is good.
And that'll be 48-0 LCA with 9:16 left to go in the 2nd half. And Riley, how momentous is this for Coach Rocco? That now that he's getting that much closer to career win 250 against a team that Coach Robertson, he has a whole lot of respect for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's fantastic if you're Coach Rocco. And, I mean, Coach Rocco's probably not really looking at the 250 win mark right now, because as a football coach, I know it's cliche to say, but football coaches like to take it 1 win at a time and 1 game at a time.
Yes.
So I'm sure once this game is over and once Coach Rocco finds out that it's his 250th win, I'm sure he's going to be very, very excited.
Yes.
And, that's a testament to his team buying into not only what he started in his first tenure with the team, but also coming back now in the second tenure of his team here in his 5th season since he's come back.
Class after class after high school class come through Liberty Christian Academy, and those boys play hard for Coach Rocco of the Bulldog football team, as we see Pettit going to kick from the 40-yard line on the kickoff. 9:10 left to go in the 4th quarter as the kickoff is underway, and that ball cannot be decided who's going to catch it, but that ball will be returned by the Minutemen special teams, and number 5, Damian Williams, will be brought down by number 22, Weston Woodard. Actually just rocked his world right there, and that'll set up shop for the Minutemen coming up on 1st and 10 from their own 19-yard line. And we're looking at less than 9 minutes left to go in the game. 48-0 LCA as Davison, the freshman quarterback for the Liberty Bedford Mighty Minutemen, awaits the snap. And he gets the snap. He will hand off the ball to Kentrell Evans. Kentrell Evans running the ball, and he will keep fighting for more yards, and that will be brought down by number 24, Eli Castaneda. And we keep hearing his name all night, as well as Carson Meadows in addition to that tackle. Looking at 8:18 left to go in the game. 48-0 LCA. 2nd down and 11 on Bedford's own 18-yard line, with more to come from the leader of this team as of right now, Mason Davidson. Davidson, the freshman, number 7, 6'1", 170, definitely the leader for this Minutemen club. Takes the snap, hands off to Kentrell Evans, and Evans will be stopped at about, he'll be stopped at about the 21-yard line. Only about a yard on that play, and he was brought down by a whole pack of Bulldogs led by number 51, Logan Burnett on that play. Clock still ticking. Well, actually, no, clock is now stopped for the first time in the fourth quarter, and now clock will rerun again with less than 7:30 left to go in the game. LCA up 48-0.
This is a big third down here for Liberty Bedford because with a running clock, I mean, this could arguably be it. Because you have to think if LCA is going to get this football back, they're just going to run. They're just going to run the clock out. So if Coach Daryl Robertson wants to keep that streak alive, this very well may be the last drive that he can do that on.
Two things on the line right here. Obviously, the shutoutless score for Coach Robertson and the Bedford team, as that pass is incomplete. That pass was intended for number 6, Raekwon Blake, but that pass was broken up by number 5, Adam Deo. And there are two, and that'll bring up fourth down. There are two things on the line tonight. Coach Rocco's 250th victory, not just at LCA, but of course he has 151 all-time wins between his first and his second tenure as head coach of the LCA Bulldogs, and as well as Coach Robertson's shutoutless streak that could come to an end if something doesn't happen for the Minutemen with 6:15 left to go in the fourth quarter. Fourth down impending. And we're going to see Liberty Bedford go for it right here, and why not? Coming up, 4th down and 8 on the 21-yard line. We hear a whistle from the official, and there's a timeout called by LCA.
First time out of the second half.
And while they're taking one, we'll take one too. This has been LCA football on 90.9 The Light.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
This is LCA Football linebacker Caleb Davidson, and you are listening to LCA Football on 90.9 The Light.
Thank you, Caleb, and we're back here with 6 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Coach Rocco of LCA looking for his 250th win, and the Bedford offense was going to go for it on that fourth down, but they've elected to punt the ball. That is a bad snap, low snap, and that ball is a line drive for the Liberty Bedford Minutemen, and that will set up shop for the Liberty Christian Academy Bulldogs on the Bedford's 42, 43-yard line. We'll see where they spot the ball. Going to say about the 42, and that'll set up shop. 1st and 10. The clock is stopped right now because the ball went out of bounds, but 48-0, Riley, for the LCA Bulldogs. You know, you said it yourself. Coach Rocco brought some JV guys up, and this is the time that they need to get the experience that they need if they want to, you know, make an impact on this LCA football team in the future, if they want to improve themselves, to get some game action. And, you know, it's you know, go through with me about how important it is to have these JV guys come up and play and get this experience in a game like this.
It's very important. Like, I mean, as we saw on the last tackle made on that third down play was by number 5, Adam Deo, and he's actually warming up on the sideline to come in at quarterback. And now there's a new running back in the game for the Liberty Christian Academy. And so, I mean, Rocco's just getting different guys into the game, getting JV guys experience in a varsity uniform, getting them experience in with varsity playing time, and that's going to come up huge when those guys take the next step from JV to varsity. They're already going to have a few minutes under their belt going into their varsity season.
Absolutely. That last run was made by number 1. We do not have a number 1 on our roster, so we assume it's a JV player. And number 1 will run the ball again. And that will be a third down. That will bring up third down for the LCA Bulldogs. We're looking at 4:23 left to go in the game. LCA up 48-0. And we're looking at third down and 3 on the LCA, or the Liberty Bedford, rather, 34-yard line. Fourth quarter, and just as we talked about before, with a win in about 4 minutes.
Number 1 is Jaden Cowart.
And check that. Number 1 is Jaden Cowart, assumed to be one of the junior varsity players that was moved up. And handoff to Cowart again. Cowart will get a few yards of his own, and that'll give the LCA Bulldogs a reset of downs, and that'll bring up first down and 10 with about 3:38 left to go in the game. As we have an official timeout on the play with about 3:35 left to go in the game. LCA up 48-0. As the respective teams will go to each of their huddles. We see Pettit on the sideline preparing for a field goal, practicing at least, and we'll see if he has any more action tonight.
Wouldn't it be fitting for LCA to score over 50 points on Coach Rocco's 250th win?
Absolutely. That is something that I would like to see, surely. And I think they have a good chance to do it. But, when you get the ball back like LCA did with about 7 minutes to go like they did, LCA is known for running the ball heavily and milking the clock as much as they can in order to get the game moving along. As we mentioned before, Coach Robertson of Liberty Bedford High School is looking to have a shutoutless streak stay alive in this game. It does not look that way right now. And there was a player that is now walking off the field for Liberty Bedford. That player is number 6, Raekwon Blake, one of their star players, having to go out of the game. That's probably what the official timeout was for. But anyway, 1st and 10 for LCA. The Bulldogs setting up on the Bedford 26-yard line. And we have a new quarterback in the game with Cowart running the ball. And he will be taken down at about the 19, 18-yard line. But wait, we have a penalty on the play impending. Jaden Skates is the new. Adam Deo is the new quarterback. Check that for the LCA offense. There's a 15-yard penalty on the Liberty Bedford defense, and that'll push it even more. And Riley, like you were talking about, it seems like the LCA Bulldogs are going to at least have a chance now with the 15-yard penalty to score more than 50 points on the night.
Yeah, and the 15-yard penalty was on number 52, Justin DeBus. That's the second time I've said his name on a personal foul penalty. So Justin DeBus just doesn't really care about the whistle at all. He's just going right through it, and he threw down another LCA player, and that's what made them get this first down here.
Snap, ball, handed off to number 1, and he will score a touchdown. Cowart with the touchdown, LCA. But hold on, there's a penalty thrown by the official at the goal line. We're going to wait, and it looks like it's going to be a holding call, but on which side of the ball? And sadly, it will be against LCA, and that will negate the touchdown by number 1 Cowart. And
that would have been his first touchdown.
Right at the varsity level.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll get another crack at it. As we're looking at about 3 minutes left to go in the game. LCA up 48-0. First, we're going to redo the first down. And we are sitting at 1st and 14-13 with less than 2:50 left to go in the game. Fourth quarter right here at Minutemen Stadium. Quarterback under center, awaiting the snap. And the ball is handed off to Cowart once again, and he will be brought down by a herd of Minutemen. led by number 9, Bryce Sneed, the senior.
15-yard line, 2-yard line,
And as we approach 2:20 left to go, that was also helped. The tackle was also helped by number 70, William Crumpacker, who is also a senior on this mighty Minutemen defense. And as we approach 2 minutes left to go in the game, as Adam Deo will go under center once again. Handoff to Cowart. Cowart will take it himself, run it all the way, and he will be marked down at the 4-yard line. Riley, we're looking at a minute 45 and counting left to go in the game. And are we going to see 50 points scored by the LCA offense?
We are, and not only are we going to see 50 points, but we're going to see a first touchdown in a varsity uniform for number 1, Jaden Cowhurt from the JV football team. Coach Rocco talked about bringing up some of those JV players to get some minutes and get some snaps, as we see Adam Deo in at quarterback as well.
Deo, the snap to handoff to Cowart. Cowart fighting for more yards, and he will not get the touchdown, but he will get a yard on the play. And we have a minute and 10 seconds left to go in the ball game. If LCA wants to score this game, they have to move fast. And that that tackle was made by number 10, Wiley Fox. Looking on at less than 50 seconds left to go in the ball game, and Deo is running out to his crew in what will most likely be the last play of the game. And Coach Rocco does have a few timeouts left if he really wants to get 50 points. Adam Deo under center. Cowart in the backfield. And just like that, they're going to take a knee respectfully. Good sportsmanship. And that will be a turnover on downs for the LCA Bulldogs. Now, it's most likely that Coach Rocco is going to get his the 250th win tonight. Now, 28.3 seconds left to go. Are we going to see the streak stay alive for Coach Robertson, the shutoutless streak stay alive? As that is definitely unlikely unless Coach Robertson takes a timeout. They're going to have one play left, and we will see what happens right here. And we, ladies and gentlemen, we might not even get a playoff, but we could very well. Mason Davidson awaiting the snap. 5 seconds left to go in the game. This will most likely be the final play. And the ball is snapped. The ball is ran by number 10 for Liberty Bedford, Wiley Fox. And the tackle is made by number 44, Carson Meadows. And ladies and gentlemen, Coach Rocco of LCA has achieved the achievable, getting his 250th win in his career as a head coach, high school head coach. And your final score live from Minutemen Stadium, the LCA Bulldogs 48, the Liberty Bedford Mighty Minutemen 0, as Coach Rocco gets his 250th win. Coach Robertson's shutoutless streak is halted at 7. The Bulldogs move on to 8-0 overall with a correct me if I'm wrong about this, 5-0 in the Seminole District now.
Yes, they are
5-0 in the Seminole District. They will Liberty Bedford moves to 0-8 on the year with and they are 0-8 overall with 0-4, 0-5 left in the Seminole District. And we are going to see what happens next as the players shake hands at the 50-yard line. Coming up next for the LCA Bulldogs, they take on Amherst County. That'll be next Friday, the 28th of October. And kickoff at that time will be at 7:30. That will be a home game for the Bulldogs. And just a mighty effort, regardless of the score. It was a great effort from the Liberty Bedford Minutemen. They will go on and take on, they move to 0-8, 0-5 in the Seminole District. They will go on to take on Heritage next Friday. on next week as well. That game will start at 7 o'clock. And we will have and here's a cool scene right here, Riley. You see both teams meeting at the middle of the field. Just what I assume what LCA does with every team at the end of the game. They pray with each other. It's just a tremendous act by each of them. And I'm glad it's allowed even in the public league, because you don't really see that often, and it's just a tremendous sight to see.
Yeah, and I mean, this kind of reminds me of what my high school did when my football coach was there, Mark Hollers. We would always group up together at the end of the game and pray, no matter if it was a public school or a private school. We would come together and pray and give God all the glory for us being able to play on the football field and not have any injuries. And if there were any injuries, we would pray for healing and that they would be able to get back on the football field as soon as possible.
And while they're doing that, we do have some updates around the district. We do have some updates around the district, starting with Heritage taking on JF. That game has gone final. The Pioneers shut out JF 34-0. That game went final just moments ago. And on to the next one with Rustburg taking on EC Glass. That game has also gone final. Your final score for that game, 42-17, with EC Glass holding Rustburg to only 3 points in the second half. My goodness. And finally, to wrap up the Seminole District, you have Brookville taking on Amherst County. The Brookville Bees beat Amherst County 28-14 in a game where it was a real problem for Amherst County. Did not score in the first half. One more game to keep you updated on. That game is Lord Botetourt taking on Northside, a regional game. Lord Botetourt, a team that we could see in the playoffs later on. And that game is still going on. That's still live in the fourth quarter, 48-7 in favor of Lord Botetourt. But while the teams are breaking up after the prayer, Riley, what are the post-game stats for the end of the game? Because I'm really interested to see how they are.
Yeah, Gideon Davidson had 140 total yards on the ground with 3 rushing touchdowns. And the other running back on the other side of the ball, or the other team, Liberty, Bedford, Kentrell Evans had 85 rushing yards. LCA had 331 total yards, and Bedford had 87. Castaneda for LCA, Eli Castaneda had 71 rushing yards, and he had 2 touchdowns. Both of those were in the third quarter, as we said. With our end of the third quarter stats update, each team turned the football over once. Mason Davison had that interception to Logan Burnett, yes. And Joe Borchers had the fumble on the 4th down in 1 attempt, and he fumbled the football, put it on the turf.
Yes.
This is the first time Bedford has been shut out this season, as we've already said. Adam Deo was the QB in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And he also had a pass breakup in the couple snaps he got on the defensive side of the ball for LCA. And the last one is there were no sacks for either team.
Okay.
Joe Borchers, yes, we said it on the call that it was a sack, but it is officially a tackle.